Good afternoon. I'm here posting from Hannibal's office, the posting chamber,
And I'm back in my streamer hole.
the basement.
It does sound very basement like, doesn't it? Oh, I'm glad you like the funky intro music. I don't think I've actually said what it is on stream. Um, I do have glasses. I'm
They're
supposed to.
very cute.
Thank you. Oh, I should have brought. They have fucking. Oh, maybe I have them in here. Are they in here? They have the most amazing thing, which I don't need on stream, but
Oh
fucking
yeah.
clip-ons, bitch.
Oh my God. And the shape is like actually cute, like
Yeah,
as a sunglass. Like
yeah.
it's like the bug eye, like a subtle bug eye sunglass.
Yeah, they
Ooh,
they just have
yeah.
these little tiny magnets in them.
Oh, is this a Zenny? Are these from Zenny
I don't
or
know.
Warby?
Oh, is that a website where you got? No,
Yeah.
they're actually from
Mhm.
a local, tiny little a local place that is
Oh, even
within
better.
walking distance of me, which is very convenient. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
actually need them on stream because I'm nearsighted, so I don't actually need it unless I go outside of my house, which is all the time.
Wow. You leave the
I
house all
leave
the
the house all
time?
the time. I leave it.
Damn. Oh man, get a look at her. I when did I last leave the house? I don't know. That's not good. Is that supposed to be
It
applause?
is supposed to be applause. It's more just like a snare.
It sounds like somebody just like in a, an 8-bit video game like shuffling a deck of cards.
A rain.
It ends so abruptly.
All of them do, which is my favorite part. So I am extremely excited to announce the best $30 that has maybe ever been spent. Ever. Let's see if I can set my camera up in a place where you can kind of see what I'm doing. Not really.
Oh, yeah.
That'll have to do. So, or here, we'll just show you guys. So this is my Videonics sound effects mixer digital audio. It has 80 sounds that I can play from door creaking.
It's so slow, that one.
Okay, so here's the best fucking part. I don't know if you guys can really read um what is happening. Oh, are they not coming through the stream? Oh, okay, sorry. That was way less exciting of a reveal, but they will now they should be on stream.
Okay, let's see
Are you guys hearing that
now.
horrible noise?
Dracula laugh. Okay, yeah, now they can hear it. Okay, let's get door creaking again. Why does it sound like a car accelerating for like a second in the progression of it?
It sounds awful. Oh yeah, applause. That one is really good. Uh
Like peasants in like a Shrek game.
I love that people point out that mostly people have been using the same laugh noises since the 50s, so those people are all dead. Um and it's definitely even more true for this haunted machine. Oh wait, no, I want laugh.
Oh
God, that's
yeah, that
haunted.
person's dead. That
Um
person's dead.
so yeah, there's all kinds of my favorite is these squeak, pip, pop, bonk and floop.
Mm.
That's floop. Um so but what's really fun is you can fucking put effects on it. So now that I have that one. Oh wait, no. I don't understand how this I got this last night, so I don't understand how this fucking machine works. So if I do 29 and then I do 92, that is lower.
Oh, okay.
And then
Subtle.
this is much lower.
It kind of broke the sound.
It really does.
It doesn't.
And then you could also do backwards.
That's not a bloop at all.
It's just so fucking. It sounds like someone choking. I don't even know which one you mean, which sound you mean. So yeah,
That's
there are 60 through 77 are arcade and music, and 78 through 80 are audio mini plays. Sorry, you can't actually see what I'm pointing. Audio mini plays. I am not going to distract this stream because it would be the whole stream if we really got into this. Um, but I may do a stream. I'm hoping we'll talk about it a little bit more, but we're probably going to be streaming on Wednesday next week, the two of us. And then my hope is to do a stream myself on my Test Device channel, which if you haven't followed yet, check out Test Device or twitch.tv/Test Device _
I'll put that in the chat.
Thank you.
I need to have Nightbot start saying that also.
That's true. Yeah. I actually had
But
the idea that we should have a whole end screen where it has all of our stuff, and then also
yeah,
could thank everybody who's donated that day.
right. Yeah, just like like Spoonie has end credits for all
Mm-hmm.
of their streams and stuff like that, or a lot of people do. But
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to know more about this horrible fucking machine,
yes, Wednesday evening.
yeah, watch my socials because that's subject to change. Not our stream though. Wednesday 2 to 5 is set in stone unless there's a
Yeah, for next week.
emergency.
Okay, so since you just did show and tell, I'll show
Yes.
what I have.
I don't know what this is going to be. Devin fades into Hannibal's office and fades back out.
Okay, so our lovely friend Kelly, aka Photopotamus, mailed me these. We were supposed to hang out a couple of weeks ago and do our nails together, but then when you have children, I get the impression that it's just you're in like a sickness bomb zone at all times,
Yeah.
and so then that was not able to happen. And so then they very kindly sent me this thing that they were going to give me in person. Oh, hello, you're here. Good, good.
Oh
Look at
no,
this
it's
shit.
so good.
There's several members to this family. So this is just one for one exactly the like paint scheme on my fursona. It's a little teal deer with like this very lovely, like kind of almost like gold, kind of shimmery, like brown, and the teal antlers, and also underneath little teal balls right here,
The teal balls.
little teal balls, and maybe I'll just keep him here.
Yeah. Oh
And then
no.
and then here's another one. This one has little antler stubbins. So after shedding season, so it has little antler stubs. Still got the balls though.
Oh, these are so
Put
good.
them
Such good
there.
friends.
And then there's a babby one.
Oh
There's the baby. It's got little teal spots.
no. Oh.
And yeah, oh wait, this one doesn't have this, but this one does have little antler stubbins.
Its teal
Very,
balls
very
haven't its
adorable.
teal balls haven't dropped yet.
Its balls haven't dropped. So it's this beautiful dear family. Thank you so much, photo.
Oh,
You're a real one. I'll just put this right here.
that's perfect.
Yes.
I could also take pictures of them and then we could have them separate as separate things in OBS.
My God.
How do I do that? Screenshot. Okay, but how do
Now I have background and foreground.
I don't know how to do that actually. But yeah, those can live there. They're perfect little guys.
Yeah, they're the perfect size.
Fucking parkour.
No, I'm just playing with my Playing with my toys.
Playing with dolls.
Yes, playing
Oh,
with my
here.
Legos.
Wait, the. Oh yeah, you're actually on the wrong thing. Now we can see Devin here.
Okay.
The spider
Yeah.
can play with
Oh.
your dolls too.
Oh
the spider,
yeah.
the spider's
Oh
still
my
here.
god. I'm playing with my animal friends in Hannibal's office. This is just like that forum post where someone's like, "Hey guys, it's my birthday. Sonic and Mario and every video game character from every game come and have a big party."
God. Oh.
So that one breaks my heart on like because I want that for them. I want them to be able to have that.
Oh yeah. They do have it in their mind, and we should respect them for that.
Yeah. Oh, the Betty Boop's wife guy. Yeah, you already know.
yeah.
Mr. Boop.
Cat hair
Yeah.
everywhere. I do love the idea of starting every stream with a show and tell. Um, I think I always have weird shit to show and tell, so I love the idea of if one of us has a show and tell thing.
Yeah, that could be a segment
Mm-hmm.
easily, especially since you do like find all kinds of objects
I love
and
objects.
technology. Yes.
I will absolutely. I'm actually gonna write down in my. I have a bumper to do list, like a list of things to add to my little buttons, which aren't actually working right now, frustratingly. Um, they're not working properly anyway. But I will add show and tell. Please give me suggestions to both
Yeah.
Devin
Or
and chat.
if you notice that we say something a lot and that it should be a button, just like piss course or I know what you are or like anything like that, or up yours woke moralist, let us know because I always forget what I'm saying or doing.
Yeah, I do have our little bumpers. They're just harder to access today, unfortunately.
OBS just always is throwing us new challenges.
Not actually OBS this time. It's actually Touch Portal,
Up
but
yours, woke
Oh.
moralists.
Oh, he's so little up there. Oh, and he's there with the spider.
why is he oh so little? Okay, this is OBS. Okay, well he's just gonna be little over there for some
Okay,
reason.
I mean, little Jordy Pete.
Um. So anyway,
He's shy today.
we have multiple things to do today. Multiple important
Yes.
missions.
Yes. First thing we're going to do on the agenda today is we're going to finish where we left off in Meeting in the Flesh, finish up the Nyargh romance ending. Hopefully, we're going to get through to the other endings today as well. But after we finish Nyargh, we're going to take a break to talk about the latest main character of Twitter and the literati, Agnes Callard, who is a professor at University of Chicago. A profile of her in the New Yorker came out that people were really dunking on and making fun of. Um, and in the genre of hating on weird rich people for being weird and rich, there's certainly things there, but there's also a lot to be said about neurodiversity and polyamory in this article, and a lot of the hate she got maybe isn't so deserved. So we'll piss on that.
Mm-hmm. Um, that will be a where are you, window? That will be a coming discourse.
The coming piss course.
Well, thanks for dropping by. Regardless, Chubby Kumquat.
Yeah.
Definitely check out the VOD if you are able, either here or on YouTube. Should be able to get the VOD.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over here.
How's everybody else's Friday going today?
How did we do this last time? I guess we just did that. Can you
Oh,
see? Can you see? Oh wait, no, that's right. I did build a special scene for you. Okay. Can you see the game, Devin?
yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
That one should be the one that is specifically built for you.
Jen Laham says, picked up some milkweed seeds from the library. Wow. Like the
That's
library, or it's like a seed library.
that wouldn't be surprise me if it's the library because they do a lot of. I know my library in town does a lot of cool shit. Yeah, the seed library at the book library. That's sick.
Wow. I was trying to find a tool library a couple of months ago, and there are a couple of good options in Chicago, but all of the like shit that I needed was gone. But it's nice that it exists.
Yeah, yeah.
Our
Sometimes they
library
have.
also has a weight room. Wow.
That's sick. Oh well. Sorry, my shit
Baking
is.
oatmeal cookies, going on a walk. There are deer and bucks in my backyard. Congratulations, bread hummus.
Fucks even.
These.
Okay, should be able to hear that now, Devin, and also chat should be able
Yeah.
to hear that now. Is that okay for you, Devin, volume wise?
Yeah. Very, very gentle. Very soft.
Yeah, this game was loud as fuck when I opened it. I don't know, but I feel like that's so many games.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh no, no! This one's specifically required to return seeds, but they do have a program about educating people on saving seeds, and that's how they restock. So basically,
That's cool.
you take this. Wait, I'm confused.
So
If you
you
need to return
so you
the.
take out the seeds, you grow the plant. You're not required to return seeds, but they have a program to educate people
Oh, no one is
about why saving.
specifically required. I see.
Yeah. So it's encouraged but not required. That's dope. It's a give a penny, take a penny kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we do have a little bit of a. Why are you? Piscore screen is fucked up. That's okay. All right. This should be an approximation of correct. If please let me know about volume, and if both me and Devin in comparison to each other, and then also the game volume and stuff. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you for everybody's patience. I think we're
Oh
all
yeah.
set.
Nice. Okay, so we are on the last day.
Yeah.
Um,
So as a recap, yeah, I think for especially for people who have no idea what this is. So this is monster dating sim, or there's some amount of thank you, Witchy Faye. There's some amount of body horror in it, although we haven't gotten to that. I think is a thing that they say. So you are some kind of monster or non-human entity of some kind on this clearly alien planet. I think there's 3 suns, and the world is just clearly very different. Everybody only eats salt, um, and you are a delivery person for this, or we are collectively a delivery person for the salt, and there is the eclipse, which only happens every 100 years or so, or
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was 100 years. They said, yeah.
um, which is going to happen, I think, tomorrow. Um, and people do big things for the eclipse, and it is clearly we are going to go on a spicy date with one of these 3 wonderful monsters tomorrow on the eclipse, and we are trying for that to be our good friend Clarg. Or no, not Clark. That's the Adventure Zone
Nyargh.
guy. Nyarg.
Yeah, Nyargh, who he's a little gloppy boy with tentacles that are very dexterous and can multitask, and a lot of mouths and no eyes.
Hmm.
And he has pet bees that he raises for honey.
Giant bees.
Big, yeah, big cuddly buddies. So, and he's sensitive, and he's a victim of racism in this world, or like anti-Semitism or something like that.
Bigotry of some
Um,
kind.
Bigotry of some kind, and he's a good boy.
And we just had a sort of intimate moment where the everyone was pounding down his store for honey last minute before the store closes before the eclipse, and we volunteered to help him. But we had to say no to all the other babies.
Including a very nice, very stinky wolf man and a little insectoid boy who is unfortunately running the Panopticon police state. And so, fuck that.
Hmm. So let's see. Where were we at? Do you want to take narration and main character, and I'll take everybody else for now?
Sure, yeah. I will say for some reason on my screen there's like a black rectangle cutting through the middle of
That
the
is
of the screen.
that is okay. All right. So this is immediately after that. Chyler, thanks, Vil. Seems like you had a busy day, huh? You're cutting it pretty close.
Yeah, things have been a little hectic today.
Vil is us, by the way. Chyler, I can imagine since tomorrow's a big day and all, good work, and you should go rest up.
Thanks, I will. Have a good night.
You too.
Even smiling feels exhausting. Oh, sorry.
No, no, that was what we agreed on. I'm just getting mixed up.
Okay. Even smiling feels exhausting after the long day, but I still make sure to wave as I trot off, pawing at my pack to make sure all my deliveries have been taken care of. All done and with barely a minute to spare. I really did cut things pretty close. But at the same time, I don't regret it. It feels like what happened today was pivotal and absolutely worth a bit of extra running. I end up taking the long route back home, backtracking a little bit. I walk past the Overlook office, which continues to watch silently over the city. The spire's eyeballs lazily cast over the landscape, though they blink slowly now and again, as if growing tired. And this spire is controlled by the cop that we are not dating. I cut through the park. The atmosphere here is different after dark, the spindly trees casting twisting shadows across the uneven ground. The air feels colder, too, and it feels different without Britann's boisterous presence walking by me. And that's the wolf boy. I'm feeling quite exhausted by the time I make my way past the row of stores. My feet feel sore, a hot ache working its way through my ankles and up the lengths of my legs, all the way to the pit of my stomach. Even my arms hurt from bracing against the ground. I thought I'd long since grown used to the physical strain of running my route, but today had certainly been a long day. My mind is occupied, keeping tally of how many different places my body aches, and I almost walk right to the end of the block before the warm glow of a store window catches my attention. Nyargh's store. His generous invitation races to the forefront of my mind, of course. How could I have forgotten?
I also forgot. We were gonna meet him after work.
Oh, yeah.
And we
For a
didn't.
little.
Hopefully. Oops.
Hopefully. Even the exhaustion seeping through my body is briefly forgotten, replaced by a small, warm thrill working its way outward from the core of my chest. I'm a little excited. Almost every other store is closed by now, their lights dimmed. Though a few remain open, I can see the owners bustling inside, neatening up their displays to close up for the night. Nyargh's storefront is the only one still lit, the warm glow of honeyed lights filtering out past the glass and spilling onto the ground below. As I draw closer, I can see the faint movements of a few restless bees moving about in their cages. But the store is otherwise empty. The small handwritten sign on the door has flipped from open to closed. Maybe Nyargh also forgot? I drift towards the door, trying to peek through the little window to see if he's inside, but it swings open before I can get that close.
There you are. I don't remember Nyargh's voice at all. I was worried you'd make it too late to finish your route. Or I was worried I'd made you too late to finish your route.
I shake my head, smiling. It's kind of him to worry. I managed to finish it on time, though it was admittedly a close call. Today's been an interesting day, but I'll be happy if I don't have to run that many deliveries again in one day. Nyargh nods sympathetically before holding the door open wider. The smell of honey comes wafting outwards, and I can hear the faint chittering of a pair of bees arguing with each other. Some of the ache in my muscles seems to melt away already, and I eagerly stumble forward through the open doorway. Thanks, Nyargh. Oh,
Don't
he's smiling.
don't mention it. He's doing his little
I've never seen Nyargh's store so empty before. The atmosphere feels completely different now that it's just the two of us in here. Much more peaceful.
excuse actually plot hole in the first scene that we met Nyargh. I'm pretty sure it said that we were the only one in the store briefly. So
That's true. Nyargh let most of the bees out from their cages to roam, now that the floor is empty and there's less danger of them getting squished or trampled by customers. And it's a pleasure seeing them bumble about. Some cuddle together in a corner, dozing. Others wander about, chittering at each other and exploring familiar territory. A pair near the entrance are fighting, clumsily swiping at each other with their legs and making angry buzzing noises.
mm,
Baby fights.
God, I hope they dance like real bees. Although
Oh.
they don't seem to be hive creatures, so
Yeah, they seem to just make honey on their own. Like they're almost like mammals. Like
mm-hmm.
they're like little cows that you milk for honey or something.
Yeah, they do describe them as having fur. Although I think real bees have some kind of hair that would probably be sort of fur like.
Yeah. Nyargh coolly separates the arguing pair, tucking one under a tentacle each as he passes by. They calm down quickly. It feels so different here after closing time. I state what must be the obvious, but Nyargh still humors me with a nod. He leads the way to the back of the store, past rows of empty shelves and open cages. A few bees have opted to remain in their cages, sleeping or cleaning themselves. One chirps at me when I approach.
I don't have a. Oh wait, no, I do. That's the chirp. Sorry, continue.
I, I like the thought of the bee meowing. The meow is very
I
good.
don't know. It just yeah, it really feels. Or maybe it needs to be. Oh, that's sped up meow. I feel like it needs to be that. Oh, I don't know why. Why? Okay, sorry. Go on.
It knows we love the door. One chirps at me when I approach, and I make sure to give it a pat on the head as I pass by. There's a door at the far end of the store, in a corner that's not immediately visible from the entrance, and Nyargh pulls it open.
You knew that one was coming.
Yeah, I waited. Like, take your time, Nyargh. Just inside the doorway is a hanging curtain of yellow beads, providing one more layer of protection between the storefront and what must be Nyargh's private area.
Ooh. I don't think we have beads, unfortunately.
Yes, probably not.
Oh wait. Ugh. That was buzz. I don't think that's what the
Oh,
bee
it's like a buzzer,
sound.
like a game show. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
A pair of tentacles reach over me to pull aside a few strands of beads. They rustle against each other, giving off a faint smell. It's pleasant like honey, but more muted, and with the undercurrent of something woodsy and natural.
Oh, they're made of beeswax.
Oh. Nyargh must have noticed me looking at them curiously because he gives a quiet explanation as he shifts a strand of beads over his tentacle. So
This
seductive.
the smell is a little more mellow than honey. Helps me calm down after a long day.
They're great.
Oh yeah, fragrance.
Fragrance heads.
I absolutely need a clip of Jeremy Fragrance with the ghee just fuck.
He like stumbles in place. Fuck. Indeed, the little hallway past the doorway feels calming to walk down. The air still feels warm, but without the intensity of the storefront. The lights are dimmer, the air less saccharine sweet, and the bustle of the street outside feels further away. A small stairwell branches off to the right, but Nyarg gestures me past it towards an open doorway at the end of the hallway.
Oh, that's just the one footstep, I guess.
Oh, okay. Go, girl, give us nothing. Stop. As I step through that open doorway, I can't help pausing and blinking. Nyarg's private quarters aren't quite what I imagined.
I'm imagining, not that I've even seen or read the book, but I'm imagining that scene from 50 Shades of Grey where he's like,
I,
my
I was a
playroom.
I was literally about to say Red Room of Pain. You have no idea. I was about to say that.
Did you read that?
Nyarg.
Did you read
Oh,
that?
oh, yeah, I read that, and then I read Gray, the retelling from his perspective,
Oh,
which is completely a pointless book.
I mean,
And the Twilights. I read the Twilights too.
yeah. I my favorite fact is that it was originally written. Yeah, it was when it was first published. It was a fan fiction of Twilight, which a lot of people know, but less. I feel like less people know that it was originally published under the name. I'm not gonna get it right, but
Snow Queen Ice Dragon.
yes, yes. Did you read it at that? Didn't you say you read it at that point? I'm remembering now. We've talked about
Oh,
this.
oh no, I wish. No, I just read once it was published. I
Okay.
missed the Snow Queen Ice Dragon era. Though I've read like some little snippets of like the original and like some of the commentary that she would add as she was updating it just from people writing about it afterward. But yeah.
Definitely a pleasant
Def-
surprise. Oh, that was you.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh sorry. You're good. Okay. Oh, I like that little hangy bed.
I do love that. Go ahead and take a seat.
I sink into the plush seating, feeling the material compress under my weight. There's a natural warmth to the material, and the way it molds around my body is wonderfully comfortable. I find myself giving a content sigh as I lean back, enjoying the way the seating gently holds my weight, swaying gently. Nyarg takes the chance to deposit the two bees he's been carrying into my lap.
No! Oh, that's too
Oh my
cute.
god, I can't not fuck him.
I can't not fuck him.
They seem to have forgotten all about their little spat during the short walk from the storefront, now content to sit next to each other. One promptly begins crawling around the couch, antenna patting over the material in search of the most comfortable spot to sit. The other seems happier sitting where it's been placed, starting to groom itself with small humming noises.
These cats, for sure. These are such cats.
Yeah, cat bees. The rhythmic flicker of feelers and wings over my skin tickles.
Let me go get something to drink.
Nyarg heads toward the doorway at the end of the room, and I make a cursory move to sit up. Should I help?
I can do it. You should relax for a few minutes.
Admittedly, I'm feeling so comfortable at the moment that the prospect of getting up isn't terribly appealing. I sheepishly nod before sinking back into the couch, feeling gentle vibration against my thigh as the two bees hum. This might be my first time in Yarg's private quarters, but the atmosphere is incredibly comforting. I'm not usually the type to immediately feel comfortable in an unfamiliar environment, but I can't feel any of that usual tension when I'm sitting here on Yarg's couch, where the atmosphere is sweet and cozy and warm.
Um, it's for our said. I went to a wedding last summer where E.L. James, I'm assuming that that's uh,
Yeah.
50 Shades author, was a guest. I didn't mention that I'd read and mocked her work LMAO.
Oh my God, it's Farrar. You've been to a wedding that Miss Erica Leonard James was at? That's amazing.
The incredible mind that it took to rip off Animorphs.
Oh my god.
Um,
That's
yeah. I hope you got an autograph.
that's iconic. That's iconic. Is that she's Australian, right? Are you in Australia? I think I probably already knew that. Wow.
And also, has anybody ever seen bees sleeping? They're so cute. I don't know. Can we just do? Should we just do a bee freak of the week, maybe?
Yeah,
If we have time today.
absolutely. Past the doorway, I can hear the gentle sounds of a heating organism grumbling to life, followed by the low drone of Nyargh's voice as he convinces it to quiet down. The wandering bee threatens to slide off the couch in search of something, so I absently pull it close, nestling its fluffy body against my own.
Would bees be
Fuck away to
warm?
blanket.
I don't know if
Oh,
bees would. They're not. I don't.
they're not mammals, yeah.
I don't think they actually would be warm. Um.
Plot
Although,
hole.
oh, actually, it doesn't actually say that it's warm. Um. But
Oh,
yeah.
just that the bed was. The bed,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the surface is that they're sitting on, is just naturally warm.
They produce.
I'm a Brit, but my cousin knew L. James from their pre-movie Twilight fandom days. Wow.
Wow.
A Twilight fandom wedding.
Ugh. And
I
also,
love
they
it.
produce heat through beating their wings to heat up stuff. That actually does sound familiar because they do that to keep the hive at the correct temperature, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's sick.
That's cool. The bee buzzes only briefly in protest before seeming to settle down. The one in my lap, too, has fallen into the steady rhythm of grooming itself, and the tickle of its antenna brushing across my stomach now and again is comforting in a weird way. It feels nice. It's the smell of honey from somewhere very close that pulls me back to consciousness. I open my eyes to the sight of Nyargh settling himself into a chair across from me. Sorry, I didn't mean to fall asleep. My voice comes out groggier than I expected, and I can feel my cheeks heat up as I sit up and rub my face. The bee that I'd been cuddling buzzes in complaint at the fact that I dared to move, but it quiets down again once I've settled into position.
Don't worry about it. You looked exhausted. It must have been a long day for you.
I guess you could say that. I rub at my eyes to chase away the last feathery tendrils of sleep, and then realize that Nyargh's placed a small but elaborate tray on the table between us.
Their tentacles look
One of
like
the
tongues in these picture. In this picture, just
Yeah. Yeah, for a second I was like, "Oh, is that Vil?" Like, but no, but they have like paws.
yeah, or it's unclear. They yeah.
One of the bees eagerly crawls over, snatching up something from the small platter of snacks before either of us can stop it. Stop it. The biscuit crumbles in its mandibles, stopping it from gobbling up the whole snack. Stopping from gobbling up the whole snack, though, and I gently tug it back into my lap. Nyargh nods approvingly.
Thanks. They get real eager about stealing food when they can.
I can imagine with how good it smells. What is it?
Tea.
You didn't need to make it so elaborate. I do the polite thing, acting modest, but I'm sure there's a hungry edge to my expression that betrays my words. Everything smells marvelous. Steam wafts from the teapot when Nyargh lifts the lid to check the color of its contents, filling the air with a sweet, pervasive warmth. I reflexively take a deep breath, and the tiny beads of moisture cling to the inside of my nose. My head almost feels a little fuzzy, and I watch transfixed as Nyargh begins pouring out the tea. It's viscous like tree sap, amber with a tinge of reddish brown as it pools in the cup. It smells delicious, but not as cloyingly sweet as I expected from the steam.
Go ahead.
I must have looked awfully eager because Nyargh gestures with a tentacle before pouring his own cup.
Not not really, but kind of. It was a lot of tea.
It's a lot of tea.
Maybe not really that either, but you know.
Oh, and KPPK, we're just finishing up the game Meeting in the Flesh. So we're dating this tentacle monster who keeps kind of cat-sized bees in this alien world. And you know what? Yeah, it is the bee episode.
Yeah, we'll probably, if we have time, we're gonna do. We said we were gonna do a bee freak of the week. So
Yes,
anybody
yes.
has
And
good
any beef.
if anybody has good things to point us, directions to point us in, let us know when we get to that point.
Yes, bee facts. Thanks. I place the cup to my lips and take a small sip. A dark, bitter taste spreads across my tongue first, though it's soon chased after by a wonderful, mellow sweetness that does just enough to take the edge off the flavor. The two aspects of the tea work in perfect harmony, making it a drink that's awfully hard to put down. I look up to see Nyargh practically dumping a cupful in his mouth. Which mouth?
Yeah.
Then pouring himself another cup.
He doesn't need to have just one cup. Like, he could be like, like, constantly.
Yeah, 6 cups, 6 mouths, just an orgy of tea. To be fair, the cup does look rather small in his tentacle, and compared to the bulk of his body. What kind of tea is this? I'm sure I've never had it before. It's amazing.
It's blood.
Nyargh gives a small nod, as if approving of my delight.
Eye root and worm leaf tea. The leaves are steeped in honey for a long time before being brewed. Gives a nice balance of the flavors.
He drinks more slowly from his second cup. A deep rumbling noise buzzes from the core of his body, as if in appreciation.
I don't think that's the noise you made.
Well, here, let me just have a sip of this calming tea.
I keep it seems like there should be a drink noise. See, that's gonna be the problem with this thing, is like, I have my meme soundboard, but now I'm gonna have to expand this into like a bunch of sounds like this. I'm gonna be like, this isn't enough. I need more shitty sounds.
Yeah, I need slurping. I need.
I add a little honey to it after brewing. I hope it's not too sweet for your tastes.
It's wonderful. I blurt out the answer immediately because it's true. This looks expensive. You didn't have to. Now that I look closely, I recognize the snacks as salt biscuits. Salt and bone powder blended together, then baked to create a light and crunchy texture. A sheen of amber honey covers their tops. They look mouth-watering, but the fact that salt biscuits alone are a fairly pricey treat gives me pause. Not to mention all the honey. Even if Nyargh owns his own bee store, it feels strange casually eating this much honey. But Nyargh only shakes his head.
It's my treat, Vil. Eat as much as you'd like.
There's a pause before he continues, as if he needs a moment to choose his words.
I'm sure you've noticed, but it's not often that I ask for any help around the store. I don't need it often, so I've grown quite bad at asking for it. So I appreciate your willingness to help, at least at the last minute.
You do look pretty used to handling everything by yourself. It must help having so many hands.
He doesn't.
I give him an admiring. I give him an admiring smile before finally picking up a salt biscuit. I would have been loath to admit it, but my mouth had been watering the moment I spotted them, and as long as I have Nyargh's blessings, I'm excited to try one out. But even you would have been overwhelmed on a day like today. I'm not sure I've ever seen a crowd like that. Anyone would have needed your help. I take a small bite of the biscuit, closing my eyes as I savor the flavor. The familiar, sharp sting of salt is undercut by the softer, chalkier taste of bone powder, brought together by the sweet notes of honey. I find myself shoving the whole thing in my mouth without a second thought. It's the most delicious thing I've eaten in a while, I'm sure.
That is the saddest.
I knew you were winding up to do some kind of.
Well, I actually did a different one. Oh, okay, that one.
There we go.
Yeah. That one
Yes.
is perfect for salt and bone too.
Biscuit. Yes.
Can we get a? No, that's much lower. That's nothing.
That's a low bite.
That's much lower crunch.
Wow. Crunch. It's only the feeling of biscuit filling my mouth that reminds me of my manners, and I cover my mouth with my hand as I chew, trying not to drool from the corner of my mouth. But when I glance up, Nyargh seems lost in thought, his various mouths closed or slightly open, his tentacles holding his teacup aloft before him, but not moving. I'm halfway to surreptitiously reaching for a second biscuit when Nyargh suddenly speaks up.
I was surprised. I didn't expect that many people.
Really? I start to pull my hand back, but Nyargh picks up the biscuit and hands it to me instead. In my stead. I feel a little flustered and try to assuage my gluttonous guilt by giving a few tiny crumbs of the biscuit to the bees shuffling curiously around me. Nyarg's told me before that bees shouldn't eat too much salt, but tiny pieces as treats is permissible. The bees chitter in delight, eagerly crunching on their treats.
I expected a crowd since the eclipse is coming up, but I didn't expect it to be that big, especially with my reputation.
It takes me a moment to figure out what he means. Oh, you mean those people who gossip about you? Nyargh nods, finally moving his teacup and pouring its contents in one of his upper mouths. The tongue emerges afterwards to lick his lips, one of the other mouths smacking its lips in satisfaction. He moves to pour himself a third cup as he speaks.
I don't address it, but I know what people say about me, and I figured it would keep people away from the store, but that didn't seem to be the case. So I was caught off guard by how many people came by today.
I take my time with my second biscuit, chewing slowly. After overhearing the gossipers so many times, I can easily recall what they said amongst themselves. Something about Nyargh actually sucking the energy out of people. I have to fight the urge to roll my eyes even now. I instead focus on considering what to say. I chew, swallow, then take a sip of my tea as I organize my thoughts.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting to actually choose. I don't believe
Mm,
those rumors. The people who gossip are just inconsiderate jerks. People are too quick to gossip about things they don't know. They're all pretty similar.
yeah. I would say not the people who gossip are just inconsiderate jerks one, because it seems like Nyargh is very like compassionate
Mm-hmm.
in the last exchange with the kid who was like kind of acting up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like I would do people are too quick to gossip about things they don't know.
Yeah, that's where I was leaning to.
Cool. I don't think it's right to gossip in the first place, and don't believe any of those rumors. I rearranged the words in my head once more, considering them carefully. I think people are just too quick to gossip about things they don't understand. It's not right of them to spread rumors like that, but I also think it's not really worth paying attention to, especially since I don't think anyone will believe rumors like that. Nyargh purses his lips in seeming thought for a moment before giving a small nod.
It's quite a level-headed assessment.
I'm not sure if it's meant as a compliment or not, and a twinge of unease prickles at my spine. Well, that's not to say you're wrong to be frustrated or feel annoyed. I think that's pretty justified. I've never been in your position, not even close to anything like it, so I can't pretend to understand how you feel. But I just meant, I doubt those people are even thinking very hard about what they're saying, or they wouldn't be spreading such ridiculous rumors. I don't think they mean you any ill, especially if they're still at your store considering buying things from you. So if they're just saying empty things, then it's not worth the effort of worrying about them. It's sort of beneath you, in a way.
Bill.
I must have been a little flustered because these words spilled out before I could stop them. Nyargh's interruption is gentle but firm, and it halts me in my tracks.
I understand what you mean. Thank you. I feel like we chose the wrong thing. It feels like I didn't realize
Yeah,
how much
yeah.
that was gonna come across as like downplaying.
Right. Yeah, as like, oh, don't worry about it. Like it's not a big deal or something like that. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
not what I was trying to go for, but yeah. It must show in my face that I'm not entirely sure if those thanks are warranted, because he continues patiently.
I think you're correct on all fronts. I do feel frustrated about those people. I do get annoyed at them. But I also know it wouldn't be right to condemn them for something that ultimately doesn't affect me very much. I don't know of their circumstances after all. Who knows? Maybe those people have been hurt in the past by something or the other. It would be insensitive to me to assume that they have cruel intentions when they're only being wary. So I feel like we did kind of clock his. I think the second one would have been the worst option.
Yeah. I nod. It's very much like Nyargh to consider the matter so calmly and maturely.
I dislike others who are quick to judge others. I dislike people who are quick to judge others, you see. And it puts me at ease to see that there are people like you who try to see things from multiple perspectives. I feel like whatever sensory organs Nyarg has, he
He has
definitely.
many of them.
So thank you.
Narg's overt praise is enough to make me feel a little embarrassed, and I can feel a faint heat rising in my cheeks, even as I shake my head. I didn't really say or do anything special, but as long as you feel better, I'm glad. For what it's worth, I don't think you would ever do anything to hurt people, so I would never pay attention to those sorts of rumors. I believe in you. Several of Nyarg's mouths widen into toothy grins.
What a good boy.
I love him. And before I can react, he reaches out with a pair of tendrils, winding them around me. Their grips are warm and gentle, firm without being rough, holding perfectly around my shoulders as he gives me a hug.
Thanks, Phil. I truly appreciate it.
The tentacles squeeze once more, pulsing against my arms, before withdrawing. I'm not sure I've ever seen Yarg make such an affectionate gesture before, and it feels all the more special.
Wait.
It's happening.
Uh. Is that the noise it makes? I don't really have as much as I'd
That's
like.
good. There
uh
is sex in this game, KPPK, but we're playing streamer friendly mode, so it might be kind of tame.
um yeah, we're not there's like an adult mode you can turn on. Um Oh, there are also, do you remember the 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 content warnings? I was trying to remember them. There's like
Um,
vor
no,
here.
I don't remember.
Let's save and see if we can options. Yeah, weirdly yes, I just saved. Um yeah, I was going to see if there was help maybe about.
It might just be on the actual itch site.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anyway, I was trying to see if I could find vor was one of them, and also
Oh yeah,
hand holding.
yes,
Blood.
yeah. Vor, body horror, blood,
Yeah.
and hand holding. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that might be it.
Something to that effect.
Yeah, I do wonder if the adult content would just be in the writing, or
Yeah,
because then we would probably be fine.
I'm assuming, I think some a monster has played it, and I think they were the ones that said that we should do it that way. So
Oh, okay.
I thought, but yeah, I think it might be. I think if you get the right ending, there is a more sexual screenshot, like illustration, is
Oh,
what I'm guessing. So I'm
oh,
guessing it's
okay,
the same screenshot, but a little less racy. But I don't
okay,
actually know.
cool. It's for our side. When Yard gets a boner, where does it happen?
I think his tentacles just
Get
goes.
firmer, yeah.
He's like, oh, I can't really move around. Sorry. Just
I need a nut out of all six of my tentacles, or seven of his tentacles, or whatever.
yeah.
or I can't walk.
Individually, you got to work at all of them. You got to go down the
Oh my
line.
god. Oh my god. Finally somebody who could keep up, you know? Nyarg.
Oh, he's just a
Nyarg, my
whole
darling.
gangbang. Just
One man gangbang, Nyarg. That's why they make fun of him, because they're jealous.
I mean, I would be.
Perhaps because it was such a rare moment, Nyarg looks somewhat embarrassed, clearing his throat as he withdraws his tentacles.
But Vil, as much as I appreciate your trust, I can't pretend to be totally innocent. Okay, I have to have some kind of. Not really, but I mean,
Yeah,
kind of.
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Little exclamation point over the head.
Yeah, that's probably as close as I'm gonna get.
Yeah. Huh? For one moment, I wonder if the rumors are true. Nyarg, perhaps sensing my hesitation, shakes his head.
The rumors aren't true, of course, but I do have an idea of where they originated. Gossip usually don't spring out of thin air, after all.
It's somewhat of a shock to hear.
I'm just realizing, why does Nyarg have a chair? Like, I understand I feel like he could cozy up in the couch, but.
But especially with his guest sitting on the couch and him, like,
Yeah!
just shoved into that chair, it seems so uncomfortable.
I guess he does just float. Like, maybe he doesn't need to sit.
Okay.
I feel like he wants to talk about it. Ooh, hello, Cooper.
Yeah.
Did you hear his little Cooper meow?
Oh, Cooper.
Cooper, can you give us a meow?
Cooper.
Can you give us a meow? Good boy.
That's perfect. Oh. Yeah, I feel like he wants to talk about it. So I think lightening the mood would be totally like killing the moment.
Yep.
Being silent would be awkward. Yeah.
Well, I do kind of wonder if remaining silent, like maybe he would open up, but he doesn't actually seem the type to open up without asking usually. Like the amount he's opened up so far is like very unusual for him. So
yeah, you might need the encouragement.
All right, I'm ask what happened.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Surely there's a story here. I should ask for clarification before making any assumptions. Oh, Coops. Can I ask what caused the rumors then? There's a pause before Nyarg nods.
It wasn't anything grand or dramatic, but you know how rumors can be. People like to gossip, and rumors tend to change as they pass from person to person. Something small and insignificant can grow rapidly under the right circumstances.
Nyarg gives a small sigh, one of his tentacles rising to knead at a spot of soft flesh between two of his mouths.
I trust you're not the type to misunderstand what I'm saying.
I nod quietly. Still, Nyarg hesitates for a moment longer. One of the bees that had been keeping me company seems to be growing bored as it begins crawling away in search of excitement. Nyarg picks it up in two of his tentacles, stroking its back to calm it down. It responds by giving a long, low drone of contentment, vibrating away in his hands. Thoughtfully brushing the end of his tentacle against the bee's neck, Nyarg works through his thoughts for a moment longer, as I wait patiently. It's rare to see Nyarg open up about himself like this, so it must be something he's deliberated over for a long time. I don't want to rush him.
I dislike the taste of salt.
Oh. My first thought is that it?
Do you find that anticlimactic?
Nyarg's voice is quiet and calm, his hand continuing to stroke down the bee's back, as if to keep himself anchored. No, it's not that. I guess I did expect something a little bigger if it was the start of all those rumors about you. After all, the rumors are a little nasty, and your reason seems pretty innocuous. If I think about it, I guess it makes sense that people might fixate on it. Because we all need salt to live. Without salt, we wouldn't be able to sustain itself. Even the hardest individuals I know wouldn't be able to last more than 2 weeks without at least a little salt, whether it's from a block of salt or an indirect source. So for someone to actively dislike salt would be quite strange, like someone who actively dislikes breathing.
Howdy, Zenona.
Oh.
I've always known it's a rather unusual trait. Though there are a few of my kind, mostly my relatives, we've always been careful to keep it discreet. But for all of us, it gets out sooner or later.
He sighs, sounding somewhat exasperated. The bee in his grasp looks up, its buzzing coming to an abrupt stop. Thanks to it, Nyargh realizes he's stopped his petting of the bee and promptly resumes. Only then the bee settles back down, spoiled and content. Trying not to be distracted from the topic on hand, I sit forward. Can I ask how people found out?
It would be fairly obvious if anyone were to see me eating.
Of course, with Nyarg's many mouths, any sign of a frown or grimace would probably be pretty evident.
Which is why I always eat in private, of course. But an impatient customer once barged in the store during my break. I must have forgotten to lock the door. Promptly saw me struggling with my salt and asked if something was wrong. I'm sure he meant well, but I was startled and handled the situation poorly. I said that the salt had gone bad, but he took a taste and quickly assessed the. What a fucking. The backstory of Nyargh is that customers are fucking awful, which should not surprise me.
What a busybody. Like, oh, the salt's bad? Let me just eat some of it. Oh, well, it tastes fine to me. You must murder babies. What?
He must have been able to guess that it was a deeper, more fundamental issue that I had with the salt. This seems
So literally my boy has sensory issues.
yeah, it really is. I was really like talking about how it's like feels like maybe an somewhat of an autism like parallel.
Yeah. It's pretty much that. Keeps to himself and his pets. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
like to eat food. And everybody is a little taciturn. Everybody thinks he's a freak for it.
Um, rumor of it spread quickly afterward. I know him. He was not a malicious person, but secrets can rarely remain secrets for long. He must have blurted it out to someone as something interesting he'd recently found out. He said,
He sighs again, but this time he remembers to keep petting the bee. It continues to vibrate, perfectly oblivious to its master's exasperations.
trying to get the. It's so fitting
Little bee.
to have our little bee.
Yeah. I, however, can't claim to be so ignorant, and so I deliberate over how to respond.
Wow, we've had a lot of. These are like, how many before last stream? I feel like we didn't have that many. We only had like one option per day per person.
Yeah.
Oh no. Cooper. I got a little. It started to say skipping because he was.
Oh no. Oh. The mayhem. There's a lot of things that he can hit up there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. But he's trying.
I mean. So yeah, sympathize with his situation, condemn the person who spread the rumor, propose a solution, ask how he feels. I think condemn the person who spread the rumor is like so obviously the wrong answer.
Right. It's not the energy that Nyargh wants to bring to this situation. I don't think trying to solve it either is helpful. I think either sympathize or ask how he feels.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there is a solution to this situation. And if there was, he would have figured it out by now.
Yeah, or it would be really the solution would be so like exposing. Like he doesn't probably want to talk to more people about this. Like he's a very private person. So
KPPK a little earlier said, this kind of games seem to focus on social skills that I'm super weak on. And I feel like it's less about like real social skills and more just about like narrative and like how narratives usually go. Because these are not normally like, I don't know. Even when they're written really well, they're still like very. So And I feel like these are so frequently the answers almost are purposely obscure in how they like what the thing you're it says the answer like what this choice is compared to how the conversation will go is like purposefully misleading a lot of times, and I think sometimes that's bad writing, but also sometimes that's a purposeful thing because like they don't want you to like be like to understand exactly what the choices are going to be. um
Yeah,
so
because you wouldn't know how a conversation would actually go,
right,
in real life when you're figuring out what to say.
right.
But yeah, I would say that like part of what I love about games like this, and even like to a totally different extent, like Disco Elysium and Before the Storm and things like that. Like it's like conversation simulator where you can go back and undo it if you fumble the bag. Um, and a lot of times the stakes aren't even really that high, or like the game kind of signposts for you. This is the kind of person that this person is. So you know from the writing, okay, this is the kind of answer that I'm probably supposed to provide. And in real life, you just do not get that.
Yeah.
You just don't. Even when you think you know, it's so easy to fumble the bag or to feel like you did.
Mm-hmm.
So
But yeah, in this you can usually in these kinds of games you can always just fucking go back, like, which is nice. Not always, but many of them.
yeah.
Um, uh, our bot, welcome, and also no, please always let me know about the sound because I don't have a good. I can't hear myself through the headphones, so I don't have a good way to know. I turn myself up a bit. That is always it's always the opposite problem. So
Mm, yeah, yeah. Thank you for the note. And also, Zenona, that is amazing that you've got 40 to 50 beehives. Um,
oh
you're
shit,
gonna have to send us some pictures because that sounds amazing.
I missed that. That's
That your family,
amazing.
yeah, my family has honeybees. That we're gonna look at some little bee videos after we're done with this. Do a quick bee oriented freak of the week. So you'll have to drop some knowledge on us about your experiences with bees.
Absolutely.
We get to that. Yeah, yeah.
Um okay, so we decided that condemning the person who spread the rumor was bad and proposing a solution. Did we have a feeling about sympathize with this situation versus ask how he feels? I don't remember if
Um, no, but I would say I'm leaning ask how he feels,
yeah.
but I think those are both fine
I
answers.
I agree. I feel like anytime our character has tried to assume what Nyargh is feeling or wants to hear, it hasn't been the exact right thing to say. So ask how he feels seems like the right answer to me.
Yeah. I think it's most important to address Nyarg's feelings. I can't really imagine it having such a big rumor start because of a small moment like that. You must have some pretty strong feelings about it. Nyarg hums in thought. Both owner and pet rumble in unison for a long moment before he opens his mouth to speak.
Which one? Also, please let me know, chat, if I came up far enough.
Oh, yeah, if the sound is better.
Yeah, I'm also planning on getting a mic arm, which should help. I don't have too many feelings about it anymore.
Really? He nods, his tone of voice candid.
I was upset at the time, of course, but being angry for long periods of time is exhausting. I'm too busy for that. Not to mention, I want to forgive him for his mistake. He's a guilty frequent customer and often very generous. Maybe he feels guilty about what he caused. I don't think I'm so flawless that I deserve to begrudge someone for a mistake, so I've moved on. The rumors are annoying, but that's all they are.
I see. I can't help sounding impressed by Nyarg's level headed, mature response, and it must show in my face. He smiles, amused.
But thank you for asking, Phil. Your consideration means a lot to me.
I feel oddly flustered, feeling my cheeks warm as I shake my head. I didn't do anything that deserves thanks. It's just that you're a good friend, and I trust you. I care about how you feel. Silence hangs in the air for a moment before Nyarg looks up out the window. The skies are almost completely dark outside, save for the flickering pinpoints of light from other homes nearby.
It's growing quite late now that I think about it. Might have kept you a bit long. Sorry, it was mostly me talking about myself.
You don't have anything to apologize for. I hurry to respond, even as I start getting to my feet. I'm really glad I got to know you better.
You're kind to say that to someone so boring.
You're not boring at all, Nyarg. I mean it. Nyarg gives a short laugh. It's a louder noise than I expected, and both bees are alerted by it, hopping to the floor and starting to bumble around in circles. He could laugh like that.
um. How do I? Can I guess. That's short. He says short laugh, so that's shorter. You really are interesting, Phil. I'm so glad to have you as a friend.
And with that, he scoops up both bees, one tentacle for each, firmly holding them to his side so they don't try to wriggle away, before reaching out to pull aside the curtain of beads.
I just got it. Beads.
Beads.
Beads. Let me see you out.
He's very careful about making sure his bees are comfortable and safe, and about locking up the store as he exits.
I hope he's very careful about making sure I feel comfortable and safe, and about locking me up before I leave.
Yes. Yeah, I need to hear more about the specs on the cages.
Yeah, are they big enough for me to fit?
Can I be his little bee boy? Little antennas.
Oh God, that's such a good look.
Oh my God. You know, drone play is a thing, but why not make it a little cute?
Why I don't think I've ever seen the like drone play and like it's always robot, never like bee.
Yeah. There's a lot there.
KPPK, yeah, these bees are bigger than our bees. They are like cat sized.
Yeah, big boys. You don't need to walk me home, you know.
Of course, but I'd like to. You're my guest and I appreciated your company. Making sure you get home safely is the right thing to do.
Nyarg says it with a straight face, in a very matter-of-fact way, but his words still send a warm glow diffusing through my chest.
Zenona, yes, they are furry and fuzzy.
Well, then I won't decline. Thank you. Two of his tendrils engage the keratin lock, and a third tugs at the door, making sure it's firmly in place.
Shall we get going?
We walk mostly in silence. The streets aren't usually quite this empty at this time in the evening, but it seems a lot of people are resting up for the eclipse. Either that or they're busy formulating plans and preparing to make their big decisions.
Wait, I think. There's two different footsteps, but they're each only one footstep.
Why does that one sound like a fart?
It's just a tiny little. That's it. And there's a stutter feature that makes it repeat, but that's what it does. It makes it sound like a glitch.
The footstep one is perhaps the worst sound so far.
Yeah,
like,
least
it's the
accurate.
least faithful. Yeah.
There are giant.
They're all bad.
There are giant footsteps, and it's funny because there's 4 fucking footsteps noise. Those are 2 of them, and then there's giant footstep 1. That's not a footstep. That's a kick drum. It's very good though. And then
that's
there's
like when like King Dedede jumps on you like at the beginning of the boss battle in Kirby or something.
Actually, with much longer, I feel like it's just gonna be Vine Boom. That's sick as hell though. Okay. Okay, last
noise.
That's also. They all say foot. Well, it says giant footstep, but the footsteps say footsteps. No, I guess they do just say footstep. I guess I'm just expected to like. like do it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
um oh yeah, Zenona, I'm definitely putting this into Ableton and remixing the fuck out of this thing. That's
Oh my
most
god.
of the reason I bought this.
Yes. About to make a noise record.
Yeah.
All around us, we can hear the murmur of people speaking in their homes, the tap tap of people fidgeting with objects, and the muffled sounds of footsteps. But we don't see anyone else, save a stray figure passing by here and there. It's peaceful. When I look up to at our two moons, their tranquility seems everlasting. It almost makes it hard to believe the eclipse will really happen. Still no real plans for the eclipse? There's a pause before Nyargh slowly shakes his head,
More like shakes his whole body.
shakes all his mouths.
Yeah, maybe there's like a one. He only shook one mouth or something.
Me neither. But I do hope the day goes smoothly for the both of us.
Of course, I also hope the same.
When I get back to my place, I just grab a salt packet and collapse on my bed. I usually don't eat in bed, but I'm too tired to care today. I roll over on my back to unwrap the fabric and drowsily bite off a small mouthful of salt. The familiar sting spreads through my mouth, hot and sharp, and I try not to think about it as I let and I try not to let as I let it dissolve on my tongue. Even eating feels exhausting. Oh, time to
It sounds like, you know what it fucking sounds like? It sounds like the Minecraft eating noise. It sounds
Yes.
exactly like that. Why does this start? Oh my god. Okay.
That was very good. Struggling to get your mouth around the salt.
Oh my fucking god.
I turn my head to glance toward my window. Past the closed curtains, I can see a sliver of night sky, two moons lazily traversing that dark expanse. Though I bring the salt to my mouth for a second bite, I find that I just can't be bothered. I'll eat in the morning. I do the mere minimum to wrap the salt back up so it won't scatter over my bed during the night. But that's the absolute limit of my energy for the night. Even knowing I have to get up to clean up before falling asleep, my limbs feel so leaden and I find myself drifting off. But even as sleep begins to overtake me, I find myself thinking over the events of the day. A small shiver of nervous anticipation races down my spine, all the way to my toes, prompting me to wrap my blanket closer around my body. Hmm. So much for a quiet eclipse.
Yeah, they only eat salt as when it comes to nutrients. But they eat it flavored with honey or punishment salt or yeah.
Which the punishment salt comes from if the bad cops in this world catch you doing a crime, they put you in like a vat and like flay you and put salt in your wounds, and then or like
I think
what
it
do they
is
do? Like they
they
just
I think it is just salt. Like it's a big tub of like maybe they like rough up your skin first and then they put
mm,
you in a big tub of salt. It's a weird thing and not treated as we kind of talked about that last time we played it. Um but yeah, it's a weird thing and not like investigated, but it does seem to be on purpose of like this is a monster world and they have different morals than us. But
right, yeah. So people, yeah, they just get thrown in the salt bucket if they've been naughty, and then everybody wants to eat that blood stained salt because it smells delicious.
mhm.
Tomorrow will probably be a very important day. I jerk awake to the sound of my alarm beetle buzzing.
We that one has its own sound effect. I don't need to add.
I saw you reaching for
And I was
it.
like, no, it's already got it.
I immediately close my eyes and roll back over, burying my face into my pillow. The desire to go back to sleep is tremendous, which is pretty unusual. I almost never have trouble waking up in the morning, but my limbs still hurt a little bit after all the sprinting yesterday. Oh, yesterday.
Chortle. Can you
Hmm.
guys hear Chortle per?
Yeah. Sounds like mouth breathing.
Oh, she is a little bit of a mouth breather.
Oh.
Oh,
My thoughts drift to the time I'd spent at Nyargh's place, to the incredible warmth and intimacy in that atmosphere, and the thought gently rouses me. I gingerly rub my face before sitting up.
Why did the why did the picture, I thought someone was attacking. Like the picture came in like it bounced.
Yeah. I sit up in bed, scuffing a hand over my face and picking off the pus that's dried over my eye during the night. A cursory check of the time tells me I'm not late, but I should move quickly if I want to be on time. So I do. And I try very hard not to think about the eclipse. I'll have the time to spare for that once I'm actually on my route. Huh?
I told you, take the day off.
I'd made it on time to work, squeezing past some loitering crowds in the street, jogging the last stretch of the way to the salt plant, only to find the place quieter than usual. Though there was still the familiar rustle of salt pouring into filters, the scrape of long poles mixing through vats, and the glop of honey being emptied by the bucket, there were fewer workers than usual. The boss seemed a little less harried than usual, too, and when he beckoned me over, he sprang that surprise on me.
Delivery rosters today's short.
He has the delivery list in hand, and he flips through the pages, swiftly double-checking each one with a stubby pencil.
Turns out a lot of people asked to have their delivery for today put on hold. Heading out of town because of the eclipse, I imagine, or have plans of some sort. Whatever the reason, we barely have half the usual number of deliveries.
He scratches the scales on his snout with the back end of his pencil.
Felt silly making all of you run your routes, so I reorganized the routes, and a few of you have barely taken any days off, so I'm giving you today to rest. Go enjoy the eclipse.
I automatically give a dip of the head in thanks, but it still hasn't properly sunk in. I build my daily schedule around my work, and suddenly being told that I have the whole day to myself is jarring.
Does Phil not literally not have days off?
This world.
It's so like capitalism brained.
Yeah. And it seems like it's like kind of a scarcity economy on a certain level. Like it's weird that it's like there's this like distribution of food to everyone and like a government and cops that buy salt to make sure that people who can't afford it get it, but everybody else otherwise just like works all the time and like and even like having tea or a biscuit is like an extravagance.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they have not mentioned a single thing that is any kind of hobby or not work related activity for literally anyone.
Yeah. The boss seems to notice my hesitation and gives me a hard clap on the back. Even if he meant it playfully, he's a strong guy, and the casual whap is almost enough to bowl me over. He laughs as I wheeze.
Go on, you're young. Go do something fun. You deserve it.
You're sure there isn't anything I should be doing?
You're doubting me?
No, sir. The thought of leaving the salt plant so early in the day, and empty-handed at that, is almost off-putting. I can't remember the last time I took a day off, so suddenly. This job is just a habit to me, and I stand in place watching the rest of the plant for a few moments.
What are you waiting for?
Oh, nothing. The boss huffs out a sigh, and it makes his mask puff out.
Go do something nice, kid. Special day and all. Isn't there anyone you want to spend the eclipse with?
For some reason, my thoughts immediately go to Nyargh.
For no reason.
For no reason. This gentle man that I had a very intimate moment with and who has a lot of mouths and tentacles. He's at the store as usual, I assume, tending to his bees. Maybe I should pay him a visit.
Yeah, that moment when you're finally worked yourself up mentally to do something and now it's canceled. Mood.
I mean, all I ever feel is like I just, shot up when that happens. Right. I will. I wonder why I didn't think of that sooner. Even if I'm not a big believer in the eclipse as a pivotal day in one's life, it's still a special day. It'd be nice to spend the day doing something relaxing, and I can think a few places nicer than Nyargh's store. The boss seems ready to turn his attention back to his work, but he looks up promptly when I call out to him. Hey, boss?
Yeah?
What are you going to be doing during the eclipse? He smiles, the mask straining to stay in place on his snout. I can almost picture all the teeth he's showing. The boss doesn't smile often, but when he does, it's very kind, so it's a pity the mask is in the way.
I'll be watching the eclipse with my partners while we enjoy a packet of mercury salt together. Of course, I love the poly that he's partners. Um, Although it does go against the fact that the whole game is around you have to choose one of three people to date. um,
Yeah.
and I also love that petite bourgeoisie boss man gets to have mercury salt when no one else in the game
Can
has.
afford it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and he gets to have multiple partners. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of a thing with this game where it's like, oh, imagine a really nice world where all the bosses are nice and the cops are nice, but it's like, and like, oh, and we're gonna throw in polyamory representation, but like, you're not thinking about it
You haven't gotten to the
deeper.
abolitionist part of your thinking yet.
Right. Right. Just kind of, oh, this is nice. Mercury salt.
That's right.
I'm gonna guillotine you.
And steal the mercury salt.
And yes, redistribute it. He gives a proud huff, arms across over his chest.
Jin thought it was extravagant, but I know Dearth loves it, so I went for it. As if I'll let this special day go by without doing something nice for the loves of my life.
That sounds really nice. I hope you have a nice evening.
Class traitor.
It would be a shame if something happened to you.
We're being so mean. He's just like, yeah, it was a huge extravagance. But we're also like, and you should we're
Get
gonna
killed,
guillotine you for
yeah.
having class traitor.
Last traitor.
We will. So should you too.
I wish the boss a good day and leave soon afterward. I don't want to delay him any further when there's still work to do. Hopefully, he and everyone else at the plant will be able to finish up quickly and enjoy the rest of their days. Though I do still feel some guilt about taking off by myself when everyone else is working hard. I also don't want to waste the time that was kindly given to me.
Evict the cop from your brain.
I know, Vil is so like, well, I need to be doing my duties. I don't want to get in the way of anyone else doing their duties.
Octopuses. It's for our octopuses have a nominated sperm delivery tentacle. Just wondering if Nyargh's biology compares. I hope not, and
Ooh.
it's just all free for all.
All cream filled long john. Standing out in the streets, I watch people go by for a few minutes. It's actually not as crowded as I feared it would be. No doubt a lot of people are traveling or are already holed up with people important to them. Far down the street, I can see what looks like a small brawl. I guess that might also be something important to the people involved, but I do hope it doesn't last too long. It would be awful to spend the eclipse day in a salt bath. Tugging my cloak closer around myself, I inhale deeply. The air feels electric, stinging at my nose.
A salt. All I keep thinking about with salt bath is just like an Epsom, putting Epsom salts in a bath, which is like kind of luxurious.
Yeah, it's nice. All right, I guess I should get moving. The streets are abuzz with activity as I head toward Nyargh's store. The area near the stores is always moderately populated, of course, but everything feels different today. People are clustered in groups, many talking amongst themselves instead of bustling in and out of the stores. Many establishments, too, seem to have given up on operating in their usual fashion, instead shutting down completely or flinging their doors open to throw portions of their product out to a jittery crowd. A store selling blood samples flings its door open just as I'm passing by, and I'm almost knocked down by the crowd that rushes in. I manage to duck out of the way just before the proprietor begins lobbing small bladders of blood out the door. Some burst open upon impact, splashing people with wide sprays of pungent red. A delicious smell begins to fill the air, and the crowd cheers as the storekeep announces, "This is but a minuscule sample of the very rare stock we've procured today for your very special day. Come eat of this trough, you hogs."
I have a pig noise.
Yeah. Eat the slop, you wild animals. Earth whale blood, still warm, brought fresh from the city across the desert. Shortly, we'll begin an auction for this incredibly valuable stock, truly an item worth procuring for the celebration of an eclipse. Part of me is curious, of course. My mouth is watering slightly just from the smell in the air. But this is not where I should be. And the auction of rare blood samples, though interesting, is not something I want to spend too much time on. Not today. I step out of the way as several more people run past me, eager to join the crowd that's growing, before the blood store's entrance, and turn the corner. The sweet scent of honey immediately washes over me. It's a softer, gentler scent than the immediate metallic tang of blood. But it's one that's stronger, slowly seeping past the sharp taste in the air and enveloping me softly.
I do like the way this game is. So much of its writing is dedicated to taste and smell. I feel like that's pretty rare for writing in general, but also especially games don't tend to focus on that stuff as much.
Yeah, it's very sensory. It's very smell based in
Mm-hmm.
particular. There's something deeply comforting about the smell. Rather like Nyargh's presence, I think. Behind me, I can still hear shouts and cheers, but I pay them no mind and instead approach the door to Nyargh's store. Will open later. A handwritten sign leached onto the curtain covered window stops me in my tracks. In all the time I've delivered to Nyargh's store, I've never once seen him fail to open his store at the usual time. My first thought is that he's decided to take the day off for some justified rest and relaxation. But the sign says later as opposed to tomorrow. The rowdiness of the crowd behind me sends a small prickle of worry racing down my spine, and I uneasily rap at the window. Nyargh, are you there by any chance? I dearly hope nothing's happened to him. And within moments, I hear the muffled sounds of movement past the door, followed shortly by the click of the keratin lock's horn sliding back into its casing.
Bill?
The door opens a crack, just enough that I can see Nyargh's mouth murmuring my name. His voice is quiet. Sorry to bother you. I was just surprised. I don't think I've ever seen the store closed at this time. Is everything all right?
Yes, everything's fine. Thank you for worrying.
It's certainly an unusual situation, but Nyargh's tone of voice is calm and unruffled. Maybe I'd worried over nothing. So I nod and decide to give Nyargh a parting greeting before I leave.
Say you'll drop by later, tell him not to do anything too strange, ask him to get in touch if anything comes up. I say drop
Gotta
by
be.
later.
Yeah, gotta say, drop by later.
Yeah.
Trying to seal the deal over here.
Yeah.
If he plans on opening the store later, then just dropping by then might be best.
Oh, well then now I feel like I could have said something that would make him come in us come in now, but I don't know.
Shit.
But I
Well, I'll
mean,
head off for now.
yeah, this was a parting greeting, so
Yeah, it sounded like like he'd already made up his mind to like leave, or they had already made up their mind to leave.
yeah.
Well, I'll head off for now then, but I'll drop by later when you open the store. Not for any specific business, but it would be nice to spend some time with you today, if you don't mind. I grin, and Nyargh gives another small nod.
That would be nice. He did give us his big smile, so
And with that said, I turn to leave.
I'll wait. Or Vil, wait.
Narg's voice remains somewhat quiet, but there's a firmness to it that easily cuts through the distant hubbub on the streets. I stop in my tracks and look back to him. Yes?
Actually,
He's quiet for a moment longer before continuing.
if you aren't terribly busy, would you like to come in? Oh, I'd like to come in. The streets seem busy, so maybe it would be best for you to wait inside until that crowd disperses a little.
Sure, the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
He must have caught sight of the crowd past my shoulder. People are still pushing their way to the front of the crowd before the blood sample store, shouting out bids for the treasured container of earth whale blood. Admittedly, I don't look forward to wading through that crowd. The store is completely empty and quiet. Nyargh's establishment is so popular that I've never seen it without at least a few customers. It's an odd feeling standing in the store, surrounded by the peaceful hum of drowsy bees and the gentle scent of honey, without the usual presence of people wandering around looking at the wares. Thanks for letting me in.
Of course, don't mention it.
Good number of cage doors are open. Some bees remain in their homes, cleaning themselves or sleeping. Others wander about the store, waddling around the floor and inspecting their surroundings. One bumps into my leg, and I pick it up. It might be the same bee from the other night. Are the bees supposed to be wandering around right now?
I let them walk around in the mornings before I open up. It keeps them calmer during the day if they get some of their energy out of their systems earlier.
I see. I carry the bee with me as I continue looking around the store, letting it chew on a fold of my cloak.
So cute.
The atmosphere of the store might feel a little different without any guests, but it also feels very familiar and comforting. The calm air, the well used furniture, the clean floor. Nyargh, meanwhile, is seated by the counter with a tiny paper portion of salt. Oh.
Oh.
Oh my god. It's the tiniest portion of salt I've ever seen. It looks like an eighth of a block, maybe, possibly less. My first instinct is to look away in case Nyargh doesn't want to be seen eating, but I can't help pondering it curiously for a moment. Nyargh must have caught me staring, because he nudges the minuscule portion of salt with the tip of a tentacle.
Caught me in the middle of my breakfast, you see.
Oh, sorry. Should I wait over there at the back of the store?
There's no need. I won't be much longer.
I decide to turn away, absently stroking the bee in my arms. But I can't help noticing that despite what he said, Nyargh doesn't eat anymore. There's no rustling or crumbling salt particles, no crunching between teeth. When I glance over again, the tiny salt pile hasn't changed at all, and Nyargh seems to be staring out the window, mouth slightly open, as if in deep thought. The thought occurs to me that perhaps he invited me into the store for a reason. What should I say, though? Ask if he's feeling all right, ask if he's planning on eating you, ask if there's something on his mind, ask if there's a reason he let you in.
Oh. I ask if he's planning on eating you. I feel like is a cute joke, but I does not seem like Nyargh style.
No, it could come across as very rude and mean.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think a lot of these are really similar, but I guess I would lean towards ask if there's something on his mind.
That's where I was leaning to. That seems to just asking him to tell us things seems to be the way we've gone, and it mostly seems to have been better.
Yeah. The conversation from the previous night still fresh in my mind. I wonder if there's something on his mind. Nyargh, is there something bothering you?
Hmm?
It seems his mind was elsewhere. There's a pause before he realizes what I said.
This and that, I suppose. It's nothing to worry about.
He doesn't manage to sound entirely convincing, but I also don't want to press him too hard. Well, alright. If you're sure.
But what made you think so?
Well, it's not a big deal, but I just noticed you weren't eating. I wasn't sure if maybe you were bothered by something. Nyargh doesn't answer. Instead, there's just the gentle rustling sound of him pushing a crumbling piece of salt around its paper container. It falls apart, sandy particles of salt scuffing around about the smooth paper beneath his touch.
It's nothing to worry about. I just don't have much of an appetite at the moment, I suppose. All the noise and energy outside has thrown me off my rhythm somewhat. I don't need a large amount in the first place, so it isn't anything to worry about.
I see. I glance outside the window. There's only a small gap in the curtains, so it's hard to make out the entirety of the blood sample store. But from the way people are still clamoring out on the street, eyes directed toward the storefront and shouting, it's easy to tell the auction is still ongoing. It's easy to understand how the constant bustle might cause Nyargh a good deal of stress. That's understandable. but I do hope it all dies down before long. You always work hard, so you need to be extra careful about taking care of yourself. And what would your bees do if you got sick?
Damn. That's also how. What would my cats do if I don't take care of myself?
Aww. I mean, it helps.
Mm-hmm.
I smile as I hold up the bee in my arms. It wriggles its legs in the air, wings fluttering in indignity as it casts about. Evidently, this one doesn't like being held up in that fashion, so I quickly go back to cradling it in my elbow. It briefly gnaws on my fingers in retaliation before settling back down. So maybe don't push yourself too hard, but just make sure to eat enough to keep you going. Nyargh regards me in silence for a long moment. I get the distinct feeling that he's about to say something, that something very important is at the tip of his tongue.
Z. His tongues.
His tongue
They
is.
really have not made it clear if he's just got the one. Like the way a lot of it is phrased, it seems like he just has speaks out of one mouth, but like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just
Yeah,
not going the extra mile to like write things in a way that.
yeah. Yeah, he makes expressions with multiple mouths, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
think yeah, they haven't described him talking from multiple of them or anything. Nyargh? A tinge of worry creeps into my voice, and I draw a step closer to the counter. I'd kept a little distance, wanting to keep from crowding him as he ate, but I feel like it's no longer the time for that. It feels like I need to be closer to Nyarg right now to unravel what it is that has him so distracted today. Are you sure you're all right?
Phil.
Yes? I find myself standing up a little straighter. There's a distinct edge to Nyarg's voice, almost like he sounds angry, and it catches me completely off guard. So what he says next is completely unexpected.
Do you want a bone? No. I'm sorry. I lied to you. I lied to you indirectly when I said my dislike of salt is the only reason those rumors about me exist.
I see. Sudden confession is admittedly kind of worrying, but the worry is not just for myself. In the time that I've known him, Nyarg has always been quiet but frank and considerate, never the type to just lie for personal gain. There must have been a significant reason for him to have lied to me.
Yeah.
As if sensing the sudden tension in the air, the bee I'd been holding starts to squirm, its wings flapping against my arms. I crouch down to watch it skitter away, joining a few of its friends where they sit together near a heating vent and bask in the warm air.
KPPK just asked, is he going to eat us? Was that the correct choice before? Because vor is a fucking thing. I didn't even
Oh
think about that.
shit!
That maybe we want to
Oh
get
my
eaten.
god.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah. Oh
think
shit.
about that.
Oh my god, we've been fumbling the bag. We've been being too chaste.
Oh, we forgot in the way in which we need to be horny. Oh.
Oh no. I didn't ask to get eaten in the getting eaten by monsters is hot game.
Okay, legit. If we don't, we can. I think that we should, because I'm not. This is going on longer than I thought. I don't know if we're gonna have time to do like another route, but we could totally.
Yeah.
If this route has multiple branches, we could totally go back and see if that. So we should let's make a mental note that if we finish this, to go back and change that first and see what happens. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for telling me. I look up at Nyarg, choosing each word carefully. Then, if it's all right with you, could you tell me the real reason the rumors exist? Nyarg remains quiet. As uncomfortable silence settles over the both of us, weighing down on us. Then he moves toward the window. As he approaches it, he reaches out a tentacle and pulls the curtain completely shut. The interior of the store is a little darker without that little gap. But his tentacle lingers afterward, touching briefly against the glass through the curtain before withdrawing.
In Truthville.
When he does speak up, his voice is quiet, almost enough to be drowned out by the commotion outside. As if realizing that, he moves back away from the window and toward the counter. where his salt remains forgotten. I follow suit, getting to my feet and drawing close to better listen to him. It's just in time to hear him continue.
In Truthville, I am a manner of parasite. I don't devour people. It's nothing like of that sort. But I do get my sustenance from other people. Their cum. I only need a tiny amount of salt as a
Same.
supplement to keep my body healthy. But I could survive weeks without any salt. Very different from you and from almost everyone else.
Someone who doesn't need salt. I've never even heard of it before. Can't help staring, and it takes me a long moment to drop my gaze down to the tiny amount of salt sitting on the counter. No wonder Nyargh got so few deliveries compared to most others his size. I see. That's pretty incredible. But then, if you don't need salt, what do you live off of? Especially since you say you're a parasite.
Energy.
Energy? Nyargh nods, as if confirming something very mundane, like the price of one of his products or the weather outside. But in contrast to his steadfast demeanor, his voice remains quiet and tense. I can tell he's told very few, if any, other people about this, and it spurs me to focus all the more on this very important confession.
When people. Oh, what? He's just a
Oh
sex
no.
vampire! When people are excited or ecstatic, they expend a small amount of energy in the air, similar to how the body produces heat. That energy lingers in the air, and I inhale it to absorb it back into my body. In my kind, I'm sure there are many others who are similar to us at first glance, but we're unique in that aspect. I love that his whole like massive mouths and appendages is not the weird part about him.
Yeah, he has all these mouths and he doesn't even need to eat. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Well, I guess he's just eating all the time, right?
Yeah, he's just sucking in air energy.
We have many mouths to better comb the atmosphere for that energy, and the
Oh,
core of our bodies is made to effectively absorb that energy like water. It is very cute, ex time traveler, and welcome. And so, I live off of others. A parasite.
that doesn't sound quite right. That decisive response slips from my mouth before I can stop myself. Nyarg turns toward me, silently demanding that I continue, and I feel vaguely embarrassed. My face feels a little hot as I scuff a hand through my hair, gingerly pulling strands away from where they're stuck to the pus on my face. I mean, I've known parasitic species. Admittedly, not a lot of them, but they always need something more directly from their hosts, don't they? Whether it's blood or hair or chitin. I know parasites can have a bad reputation if they're selfish, but most will compensate the host in some way. So I don't think parasites are in the wrong either. They're just doing what they have to survive. But regardless, what you're saying sounds different. It's harmless, isn't it?
Is it, Bill?
Nyarg shakes his head gently. The lax way his tendrils rest upon the countertop seems oddly melancholy, and I reach out to rest my hand on one. If he notices the gesture, Nyarg doesn't show it, only continuing quietly.
I thought the same when I was younger, but I'm afraid it's not so simple. Because I require people to be excited or happy in order to sustain myself, my motives are always questioned. People know that I benefit from their happiness. They'll often question my reasons for doing anything. Trusted friends are different, of course. Those who know me well know that sustenance is not so high up on my list of priorities. But I can't expect every stranger or customer or every acquaintance to know me to the same degree. Every person who came to know about this trait of mine questioned whether I actually cared about their well being and happiness, or if I was simply hungry and wanted to benefit from their happiness. Take this store, for instance. It would be dishonest of me to say I don't benefit from the joy people get upon entering a bee store and bathing in the scents. Their delight fills me in a way that you can't imagine. I've almost never gone hungry since this store started doing well. But at the same time, I don't run this store to just fill my belly. If I were to change by some magic and suddenly need to eat salt like everyone else, I would still keep the store open until my death. I've loved bees since I was younger, and it has always been my dream to spread that love to other people. So to have that dream of mine shadowed by doubt.
He inhales deeply, sucking in the air in past two mouthfuls of gritted teeth. Other mouths have their lips pulled thin, and I can sense an undercurrent of frustration in his core.
I don't know why his voice became vaguely British, but it seems to fit in my brain.
He's so meticulous. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I gently rub at his tentacle, wanting to calm him down, and he finally seems to notice. He rests one of his other tentacles on my hand, and it seems to calm him down.
I moved far away from my hometown as soon as I was able, and settled down here. Took care not to let anyone know of my nature, and thus I was able to cultivate this store and watch everyone be happy with my bees and honey. I regret nothing.
Nyargh's voice peters off with a long exhale. I need a few moments to digest this information. It's a lot. It explains a lot. I'd always thought Nyargh was a rather secretive person, but it makes sense he would keep to himself if he wanted to protect this secret. I can see why people might treat him differently after finding out about this secret. They might not be cruel, but their treatment of him would be different, at the very least. It must have been hard. Nyargh gives the smallest of nods, mouths closed. So I decide to make my move. I walk around the counter and embrace him. I'm not tall enough to reach the core of his body, of course, but even if I stand up on the tips of my claws and strain upwards, but at least I can wrap my arms around his tentacles and hold them close. I'm sorry things have been rough for you, Nyargh.
Apparently, we also are just looking for some benefits
Yeah,
from this.
I'm just trying to harness some energy. Eating is such a fundamental part of life. It must have been hard, wanting not to distance people, but at the same time needing to keep such a big secret. I get it now, how much you must have had to work towards it. So I really appreciate you telling me. It means a lot to me that you trust me with that information. I don't think of you any differently for it. Of course, I know you're kind to people regardless. And you've always been considerate toward me in a way that I know isn't just to keep yourself full. I've always been happy to be around you, sincerely. Thank you. So, basically, he's just like a service top.
Yes. Wait, who?
Nyarg.
Nyarg.
Yeah, he gets off of making other people happy.
Yes, I. This is very unexpected to me, and I'm very. I think it's super interesting, and brings up like a lot of interesting questions about like, people and
Altruism, real altruism, and that kind of
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to the autism metaphor too, where it's like compassion versus empathy. Kind of, it reminds me of like that conversation that he like does
Interesting.
nice things for people, and that he's worried people will think he's a bad person because he's doing good things for the wrong reason,
Right. That's
even though it
yeah.
doesn't really matter. Like
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
a gentle touch slithers up my back as Nyarg's tentacles wind around my shoulders, my sides, my chest, pulling me close. Nyarg's whole body smells faintly of honey, but also of his own naturally spicy scent, and it tickles at my nose as I lean into the embrace. He's wonderfully warm to be this close to. I can feel every breath that heaves from the core of his body, tickling past my skin.
No, thank you, Bill. I've been keeping this secret for so long. But for you, I knew you would still trust me.
Of course. Nothing could make me doubt you, Nyarg. We stay like that for a good few moments, and then Nyarg slowly withdraws his tentacles. Taking that as a signal, I disentangle myself from his tendrils and step back. After that display of vulnerability, Nyarg seems uncharacteristically awkward, fidgeting with a tiny portion of salt still out on the counter. It's up to me to break the silence. So I guess you only need to eat that much salt today? Nyarg sighs, rubbing a tendril against a spot between two of his mouths.
Actually, I meant to eat this much to keep myself at peak condition, but with all the excitement and energy in the air, I'm unspeakably full. I feel like I might be sick if I had to eat this, so I'd been stalling when you showed up. In some ways, inviting you in was just an excuse to stall some more.
I can't help but laugh at such an innocently childish action that it seems at odds with Nyarg's mature, calm demeanor. Nyarg huffs, as if embarrassed, wrapping the salt back up in its paper packet. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I just didn't expect it from you. but I'm really glad it happened. I wouldn't have gotten to know you better like this otherwise. So I'm happy to have been your excuse. Nyargh nods, but the touch of warmer color in his flesh suggests he's also happy with that arrangement.
Now then.
Stepping out from around the corner, Nyargh heads to the window. I put down the bee I've been holding then to follow him. Yeah, it's Farrar. His experience definitely resembles how autistic people get accused of being manipulative due to consciously trying to sustain interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that thing of like, oh, you don't have these like weird instincts for like, here's how often I contact this person, here's the friends that I give gifts to versus like Christmas versus the friends that I don't, like all these weird things that people have to figure out about like how you show how close you are to someone, and like, or like here's how often I talk to a friend, like automating it, like
Mm-hmm.
like I know people that keep spreadsheets, right, for like keeping track of those kinds of things, and it's weird that that's like viewed as like cold-blooded and making the friendship any less, because it's like you're still doing that to show people that you care. You just have to systematize it in some way.
Right.
It's just not like intuition.
Right. So, oh yeah, it certainly doesn't look like the commotion outside is going to die down anytime soon.
He's right. If anything, the crowd's grown even larger. Someone is jostled by the crowd and stumbles into the window, and he at least shoots us an apologetic glance through the gap in the curtain before returning his attention to whatever's captivated the crowd.
I suppose you could just try to run out past them. You're a quick runner. Are you on a tight schedule today?
Oh, to be honest, I have today off, and I don't have any plans. I just wanted to drop by and see how you were doing.
I see. It's very sweet of you.
Nyargh reaches out a tentacle to pack me on the back. Plap, plap.
Oh yeah, maybe that would be a Is that...
Yeah, that's good.
Wait, what? What? Why does it...
Oh,
I don't understand.
no. Oh no.
I don't know how I made it do that.
You've broken the 1987 Video Sonic sound effect board.
um, then maybe it would be best for us to spend the day quietly, especially if we don't have any plans for the eclipse.
What were you planning on doing today before I got here?
Clean the bee cages mostly, and groom some of them if I had the time.
I can help if you like.
So eager to work even on your day off? Yeah, bad, Vil. Naughty.
Yeah,
Evict the
yeah.
cop.
Everybody just works in this world. One mouth twists into a lopsided grin, another one baring its teeth in a rumbling laugh.
Your diligence always astounds me.
Well, I figured as long as I'm here, I should do something. And yesterday was fun. I don't mind the work. And if it's helpful to you, I want to do it.
If you insist. Come on. Let's start with cleaning the cages.
Cleaning the cages ends up taking up the entirety of the morning and a good portion of the afternoon. Enough that Nyargh decides to amend that to the store in the window, saying that he's closed today. It's Eclipse Day after all. No need to feel bad about taking the day off. Once we're done cleaning, the store's air feels bitingly fresh, the sharp scent of cleaning herbs stinging into the nose with each inhale. But it's soon tempered by the soothing aroma of bee pheromones and honey as Nyargh moves onto grooming several bees, whose fur coats are growing unruly. The bees relax beneath the steady snip snip of Nyargh's shears, drooling honey onto the grooming mat. I mostly watch as this work requires training and finesse that I don't have. It's wonderfully relaxing. Time goes by quickly, and even before I realize it, it's nearing the time of the eclipse. Nyargh has to point it out to me.
It's growing awfully noisy outside.
Oh, you're right. I pull the curtains back just enough to take a quick peek outside. The crowd outside the blood sample store has dispersed at least, but the streets are noisier than ever. People mill about, holding hands and tugging each other along, pointing off in different directions. I need to press my ear against the glass to understand what's going on. Oh, the eclipse is soon. I think everyone's trying to find good places to watch it.
I see. Bill.
Hmm? I let the curtain drop as I look back down. At the back of my mind, I hope nobody saw that. I wouldn't want anyone to notice the store's occupied and barge in asking to be let up on the roof for the good view.
If you don't have any other plans for the eclipse, would you like to watch it with me?
Of course. Nyargh might have expected me to hesitate from the way he worded it, but it's an easy answer for me to give.
I do hope Bertan is somewhere
Is having
cute.
fun.
Yeah. I don't care about the cop.
Yeah, he
he's
can choke.
he's tall and handsome, but still a cop. Still the
Yes.
panopticon.
I'd love to watch it with you. Should we head up to the roof?
Wait just a moment.
Nyargh wants to prepare a few things first. A small container of salt biscuits and another of tea, because it wouldn't hurt to enjoy ourselves during this special occasion, he says. And once the preparations are made, we head up the ladder that leads to the roof of the store. The view from the roof is nice. There are higher buildings around, of course, as well as ones with tall spires. The view from those high places must be fabulous, I imagine. But for the two of us, the roof of Nyarg's store is perfect. There are empty crates here and there, formerly used to store old supplies in broken containers, and Nyargh drags a few closer to the edge so we can take a seat. And we share the tea and biscuits. You excited, Nyargh?
Somewhat. Not as much as most people, I imagine.
Probably not. I laugh as I take a sip of my tea. Around us, people are starting to bustle onto the rooftops, others leaning out their windows to get good looks at the sky. Some whoop and shout with excitement, others popping open expensive bottles of honeyed liquor. Oh, so they have liquor in this world?
Yeah.
That's the first mention of that, right?
Yeah, I think that's the first mention of anything that isn't flavored salt, I think, or some preparation
Yeah.
of salt.
All around us, people exude excitement and anticipation. This isn't too much for you, is it?
Hmm?
The atmosphere, you know? Nyarg seems to get what I mean after a few moments, and his mouths break into grins. One tentacle reaches forward to brush the hair from my face and pat me on the shoulder.
I'm perfectly fine. Thanks for asking. No need to worry about me, especially now that it's begun.
The tentacle on my shoulder shifts up past my cheek to point towards the sky. As we raise our gazes up past the horizon, we see the suns begin to collide. The light is almost blinding when the sun's shapes begin to overlap, their glows combining into something truly radiant. The warmth that washes over us seems to magnify twofold, threefold. More than one person below in the streets shouts in delight, followed by murmurs of amazement. I scoot over on my crate, thoughtlessly pulling myself closer to Nyarg, and he drapes a tentacle over my shoulder. Even before the moon begins to eat away at the sun's shapes, something deep within us screams that this is a special moment, that something monumental is about to begin. And we do not want to be alone during it. My fingers wrap around the tip of Nyarg's tentacle, squeezing around its warm, fleshy tip. The tip.
Just the
But
tip.
we remain silent, just the tip. We remain silent as the skies begin to darken. There it is.
You already
the
know.
change is the change is immediate. As soon as the moon's outline begins carving into the sun's glow, the skies lose that magnificent luster.
As many mouths as we can, X time traveler.
Yes. An odd murmur washes through the crowd on the streets, and even those sitting on rooftops or leaning out of windows try to get a closer look. The light bouncing off the clouds is also distorted, throwing crescent-shaped shadows on the ground in spots. I inadvertently grip a little tighter at Nyarg's tentacle, watching as the moon continues its march across the sky, uncaring as to what lies in its path. The suns, meanwhile, have almost completely overlapped with each other, cowering in unison behind the moon. Bit by bit, they vanish. An incredible heaviness bears down upon us as soon as the moon completely masks the suns. A strange pressure, like an invisible hand reaching down from the skies, aiming to crush us. Every sound feels magnified, and I'm startled when a small child shouts from the streets, followed immediately by a parent trying to shush them. Talking feels taboo. Moving feels taboo. Even looking away feels like it should not be permitted. It feels like the world itself is telling us this is a moment we must not take for granted. We are in the presence of something monumental. I can feel Nyargh's core shift slightly with every breath, but neither of us says a word. And though I don't dare drag my eyes down from the sky, not while the moon still loams above us, ringed only by the thinnest circle of sunlight, I can see the rest of the cityscape out of the periphery of my vision. The various shapes and structures around us are lit eerily, thin streaks of light throwing their edges into sharp contrast against their shadowed sides. For one instant, the city feels like a completely foreign place, like a place I should not be. A deep, rasping exhale leaves my lungs, catching me by surprise. I must have been holding my breath. It's difficult even breathing during this eclipse. But then the spell breaks. The eclipse arresting hold on us dissipates as quickly as it started. The sun struggled past the moon's shadow, bathing us in that familiar light once more. Bit by bit, the skies light up once more. Stray whoops and hollers begin to ring out from all around us, as if people are ecstatic to realize they've survived something deadly. I'm not seeing the person that I banned. I'm not seeing their message go away. Did I have to like delete it separately too, or
Oh, I don't know.
I thought that would? I thought that's normally how it worked, but we have to do it in the
Oh
regular
yeah,
thing.
I'm not seeing them as being banned, so I could ban
Weird.
them, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not worried about it unless they.
Okay.
Yeah.
I give a long, slow exhale once more, trying to calm my own pounding heart. When I pull my hand away from Yarg's tentacle, I realize I must have been subconsciously gripping it with all my strength. The tip is flushed, and my fingers have left marks.
Don't worry about it.
Nyargh addresses it before I can apologize.
I would have done the same. Eclipse is really something.
We're both still a little quiet as we clean up the remnants of our snacks. Even once the cityscape around us is lit up like usual once more, the streets below us busy from the crowds of people steadily dispersing, we both find our thoughts lingering with the eclipse. Would have had that effect on everyone, I'm sure. Even though I don't truly believe in the superstition that the eclipse is the best day for making decisions, I'm starting to understand why people might hold that belief. And if someone were to ask me to make a big decision right at this moment, I feel like I might be able to say yes.
Phil,
I'd helped him clean up the store and started heading towards the door when Yarg stops me. Yes?
I know I've already asked a lot from you today. Telling you the truth about myself and expecting you to still trust me, accepting your help in cleaning the store and tending to my work, and watching the eclipse together. But if you'd allow me, I'd like to make one more request of you.
If it's something I can help with, I'd be happy to. Milk those tentacles. My answers slip out without a second thought. Nyarg, however, stalls for a moment. Two of his tentacles knead at each other, and I'm slow to realize it's a sign of nervousness. It's the slight edge to his voice that makes me realize Nyarg's request this time won't be anything so trivial.
Your acceptance meant a lot to me, as did your companionship. I've come to truly value you during our time knowing each other. So, Vil, would you be my partner?
My heart stops in my chest.
I die instantly.
I die. Nyargh feeds on my energy as the light goes out.
I'm fine with this.
Yes, this was good. To me, this was a good time. I'm not sure if I expected this question or not, but seeing Nyargh's reaction, I can't bring myself to hesitate. After all, he's already spent years keeping a painful secret to himself, and I didn't want to make him wait any longer. Besides, in my heart, I already knew my answer.
Oh, we can't blue ball him now. Come on. Although I'm very
No.
curious what happens. Like is that an option just because if you like get through this far and you're like, actually I hate this fucker, so you're not like forced to do it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder if if in the adult version, if it's like, do you want to pork? Like, or like, because asking, do you want to be my partner, like as your first question on that is
Yeah.
kind of a
Yeah.
lot. But hell yeah. Of course, Nyarg, I will.
You will?
I nod decisively.
Oh.
Also, hello, Jen. Happy Friday. Nyarg,
There
the fact you trusted me enough. Oh, this is us.
Yeah, this is the our sloppy self.
Yeah, our gloppy form.
Mm-hmm.
Nyarg, the fact that you trusted me enough to tell me your secret means a lot to me. I have always considered you a good friend, of course. But being with you today, learning more about you, made me realize how comfortable I feel around you. You're amazing, I think. Not many people can be as kind and considerate as you, especially when they're harboring such a difficult secret. So if I can be by your side more and learn about you more and be closer to you, I want to do it. I want to be your partner. Nyarg seems stunned at first. Look at the
Uh,
big hands.
yeah, those are big. They're like running paws, right?
Oh my god, does this person? Yeah, they run on all fours.
Mm-hmm. I like the pre cum coming out of the.
He's dripping.
He's
He's
dripping.
oozing. My
Yeah,
boy oozed.
yowie
He has
hands.
yowie hands. You already know. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I suspect this actually even might be cropped. Is what
Yes.
I feel like. Like this is probably the same, but this might be cropped.
Yeah, there just might be another tentacle down there.
Yeah, I mean we can kind of see.
Been there. Yeah, up there in that stuff. Then his tentacles reach forward in a flurry of movement. They wind around me, encasing me in a gentle but firm warmth as he pulls me closer. Much closer.
Thank you, Vil. Thank you. You don't understand how happy you've made me.
From this proximity, his voice sounds so much deeper. Every time he exhales, his breath glasses warmth against my skin, and I wrap my arms around his tentacles to embrace him. I'm really glad we're both happy. Even when I pull back, one of his tendrils lingers against me, as if wanting to maintain the contact. Upon closer inspection, I can tell it's the one I've been gripping during the eclipse. It still has a few dark marks right where my fingers squeezed at it.
You were
Guess I got
actually
a little ahead of my.
you were squeezing my penis there, but I was into it, so I didn't want to say
Maybe you didn't.
anything.
Oh, well, maybe Nyarg thinks that you knew. And so then it's like, oh, I guess it's on. You're squeezing my penis.
My penis.
My penis while watching the sunset.
Oh, my penis hurts from your squeezing.
Yeah, it still has indents. My boy's got ligature marks from how we were squeezing on that thing.
God goals.
Guess I got a little ahead of myself, wanting to hold you. Nyarg chuckles, brushing the tentacles up against my cheek.
Just a little bit. But that's not a bad thing.
Nyarg has always been comfortable to be around. His presence has always been soothing. I've always been aware of it since I started delivering to his store. But here and now, it feels completely different. We share a secret. We share a very special moment together beneath that darkened sky lit only by the ring of the eclipse. Even if neither one of us truly believes in the auspicious powers of the eclipse, we can't help feeling like something special brought us together. It's all the more reason we want to be close to each other, to get to know each other more, to be with each other.
Horny.
Yes. Oh my god, I love the one like gloppy like drooping eye.
Yeah, it's
Like
very fun. The main character is a very interesting mix of like very human and also very monstery. It's fun for sure. I wish I could like make the oh, hide text. Oh, perfect. There literally was a button
mm,
for it this whole time.
yes. Oh my god.
That's very good.
Yeah. Oh, and they got little spines, it looks like, on their back.
Mm-hmm. I It's very fun that you don't know what they are or what they look like at all until this moment, because it's like there's like multiple different reasons why this is like, you know, a like climax to the game, like both in your understanding of the world, suddenly you get a bunch more, and also like, you know, horny. And they have little
Oh
heart
yeah.
eyes too.
Oh my god, they're loving it. They're lost in the sauce.
Lost in that sauce.
And I like how just kind of androgynous they look, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, they really
Good.
nailed that.
Nyargh's body is warm, much warmer than I anticipated. I'd noticed before that his tentacles are warm, of course. The flesh is sensitive in spots, throbbing beneath the touch of my fingers. Some are thicker than others, some are very sensitive, and some are frail, while others are strong enough to easily lift me off my feet. But all of them are perfectly gentle as they glide across my body, never letting me forget their presence. Even when one coils around my waist, lifting me up effortlessly, the tentacle's flesh is soft and careful. Nyargh treats me like something precious he would never want to break, even as he surrounds me.
About that. No. You can break me a little.
You can break me. Let's see how many tentacles I can take. You know, I'm not driving.
I do like
Not
that
an it.
all of the there is definitely a like dynamic between all of the characters, because it wasn't actually super clear how much bigger Nyarg was or what the size relationship was until I think they do mention it like much earlier in the scene. They start to mention it, but there's definitely the consistent thing between all of these characters is size difference, which I
Yes.
appreciate.
Yes. We love it. Not an inch of my body goes untouched, it feels like. Though the tentacles vary in size and function, all of them are dexterous, and they never stop roaming my body in search of unexplored places. The inside of my thigh, excuse me, the underside of my rib cage, the deep furrows between the spines on my back. They spot at the bottom of my abdomen, the nape of my neck, the curve of my collarbones. They touch me in spots I'm not used to being touched, insistently making their presence known. It's almost unfair how Nyarg is able to do so much to me, while I have a harder time doing the same. He laughs when I tell him as much. The tendril looped around my waist pulls me closer, closer, until the very core of his body hangs close above my back. From this proximity, I can almost feel each breath and throb of his body. I can hear the slick of saliva each time he licks his lips, the rush of blood through the fine veins of his tentacles, and I can see the way his body continues to flush darker.
He gonna hit it from the back.
Yeah. And he's engorged. Like I love that the detail of like he's flushing darker. That's like,
Oh yeah, filling
when
with blood.
when the dick gets purple.
Yeah.
Even as he says he doesn't mean to tease me, he continues to explore. A tentacle reaches up to touch against my temple, then very gently drags downward, brushing against my cheek. In some small act of revenge, I take it in my hands and wrestle some of that control away from him. The tentacle squirmed briefly in my grip, seemingly in protest, and I squeeze it gently with my fingertips. The flesh is warm and pliable, the muscle underneath undulating each time Nard breathes, and it twitches sharply when I press my lip to the tip. Lip to the tip. Lip to the tip. Doing my literature quizzes while casually listening to this like it's an audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's just a small kiss, brief and light. But Nyarg seems to want more. The tentacle stretches back toward my mouth when I pull it away. How could I not oblige? I kiss it again, then once more. Each time the tentacles around my body tense and throb. Nyargh patiently endures the little kisses, but only for so long. Eventually, he gives an impatient wriggle against my palms. Another tentacle swoops in, gently winding around my arms, over my wrist, and through the gaps in my fingers, as if grasping my hand. When I obligingly let go, both tendrils wind around me in a warm embrace, tugging me ever closer. Fair enough. After so much time keeping his distance and keeping his secret, he's earned the right to be as close as he likes, I think. Nyargh continues to explore, and I gladly welcome it, moving to allow him more and more access to myself. The soft flesh at the inside of my lips, the sensitive dip below my sternum, and the deepest, most intimate parts of my body. We get to experience them together.
The junk.
The junk.
I was very curious how that whole thing was going to work because I was like, my guess was that the text was going to be the same, and I suspect that, but I definitely will go back and I was thinking I should go back and see what the difference is, and I could also, if Tumblr lets me, I could also totally post the adult version of the pictures. Um, but I was curious how they were going to because I didn't think they were going to hold back too much on the sex, but I also didn't think it was going to be like he fucked me in my ass, like
Yeah,
like I didn't
yeah.
but I think they really
More
nailed.
artful.
Right, and I think they really nailed like the sensory stuff of like what was so interesting about the physical interactions without, and then skipping over the more like presumably like for research purposes, I'll be going back for the science.
For all of you, I'm doing this for you.
I would. I mean, I wouldn't. But no, I thought it was. They really communicated the like the differences in the way that it was sensual without getting overtly porny. Which, not that I would have mind the overtly porny, but like if
That's a really smart way to write it for the
right.
censorship. That it's like they don't really have to change that much. You still get a love scene. Because I was actually on that flip side. I was worried it was going to end with just the partner conversation. That it would
Mm,
just be like, and then we were dating, and and
right.
then nothing sexy happened. So like,
Right.
it seems like they knew how to put it together in a way where they could be suggestive and sensual without having to cut out too much, which is really
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Yeah, and we'll report back on what is actually different.
Yes. Stepping onto the streets the day after the eclipse is a surreal feeling. Okay, so they went at it all night.
Yeah. Gonna need that salt after sweating it all out. If you
Yes.
sweat, I don't know how that works for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems dangerous. Overnight, it seems the city's reverted back to its usual self. People tromp about at leisurely paces, pause to greet each other and ask how they are. The atmosphere is pleasant but tranquil. Only traces of the eclipse remain. Stores that don't open their doors again because the owners left for other ventures, the remains of celebratory banners strung over some doorways, an abandoned honey liquor container here and there. It's impossible for anyone to forget the eclipse actually happened. Anyone who witnessed the way the skies went dark would surely remember it for a long time to come. But we all have to move on. Of course, I resume my usual route the following day. My boss and I only have a few moments to talk about how our eclipses were. His went wonderfully, he says, and mine as well, I say. It's a simple answer, but that's all I really need to say.
I got down to bone time.
I got plowed. My route stays largely the same, regardless of the eclipse. Only the amount of salt varies slightly, and that's all trivial. But there is one significant difference. Near the end of my route, I find my feet moving faster, and my pace quickening. My claws kick off the dirt quickly enough to leave small dust clouds in my wake, and I need to brace myself hard to avoid skidding around a corner as I head down a familiar stretch of the street. Every tromp, even from blocks away, a familiar scent greets me as if welcoming me home. Nyargh's store. It becomes the highlight of my everyday, getting to throw the door open and greet Nyargh, regardless of if he's requested a delivery that day or not. And he always greets me with open tentacles, embracing me and holding me close, like something he never wants to let go.
Oh,
The end.
that's really cute.
Aw.
So,
Hmm.
what did we think? Chat room.
Yes. I think we made the right choice
Oh yeah.
of who to romance.
Um. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Devin?
I mean, I think first of all, wow, it went on a lot longer than we thought it was going to.
Yeah, yeah. There was no way we were gonna get through that. Even if we went really quick, there was no way we were getting through that in one stream. And
No.
we also don't really have a ton of time now, even. So, I think we'll.
Yeah.
I think I would be down to go through some other endings because I think, but we would probably need a full stream for each. Even if we
Yeah.
skip some of the beginning stuff, I think we'll need at least a full stream for each route. And this fucking please go consider buying this regardless of if you actually want to play it yourself. This was pay what you want with a suggested price of $2. Um, yeah, please if you enjoyed this stream, please consider just going throwing them a couple bucks because this is maybe probably the biggest game I've played. I did buy it for a couple bucks, but like probably the biggest game I've played at a pay what you want rate.
Yeah, that's a lot of writing that went into this.
Yeah,
And is the developer just like one person or like,
it's two.
you
So
know?
it's let's see if there's credit. Preferences. Yeah, so it is Miru, writing, programming, inks, and Fall, backgrounds, CGs, and colors. So it is two people made by Ink.
Ink Ethic.
Yes, they also have a Tumblr and a Twitter. Um,
Yeah, that is a lot of work for a team of just two people. I mean, again, talking about Spoonie again, somebody who's kind of making their own visual novels, just looking at how many years of work go into drawing all the backgrounds, coming up with like all of the branching lines and doing all the writing, and it's a lot of writing.
yeah,
So
yeah,
$2 is really cheap. Um, and you can certainly forgive some typos here and there. I mean, I say as the typo master. But when you're writing that much and you don't have an editor and you just have a two-person team,
yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna put their itch in the chat. If you're unfamiliar, itch.io is a great website. It is sort of a that's in all caps, but that should be fine. um, itch.io is basically a website for games. But I, I, if do you happen to know? Do they take a cut or at all, or is it
I
just smaller?
I have no idea. I just know it's kind of a site where like there's a lot of free games, there's a lot of visual novels in this vein. It's a lot of small indie creators, games of this type. Um, and I
Yeah.
have no idea what their payment structure is at
I
all.
I know it's much better than Steam. Um, I will admit I'm a little bit of a Valve fangirl, and I will give them more credit, but they are effectively a monopoly, and I don't remember the rate off the top of my head, but it's quite large, especially for small indie developers. Um, so really, really consider when you can buying them from itch.io and stuff like that. And because it's a much lower percentage, and they also they've done a lot of great work. Like they did the racial the bundle for racial justice in 2020, which I own. So if anyone wants us
Mm-hmm.
to play anything in that, literally what 10,000 games or some shit.
There's so much good stuff in there, and there's also tabletop game like books. There's like books on tarot, just like ebooks in this collection. Um, like Oxenfree's in there, I think. Like
That's right. Yeah.
Mortician's
Celeste
Tale. That one was
Celeste
fun.
might be
Celeste.
in there too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there. There's some other stuff that I played that's like that was good, solid, like indie stuff.
But
Yeah.
yeah, go throw them a couple bucks and follow them on socials. They are apparently in working on another game. So
Yeah. Sonona says, my boyfriend is writing and developing his interactive fiction fantasy game, and he's been working on it for a while because it's him and also he has school, lots of hard work. Oh, yeah. There's just so much that goes into programming it and doing all the visuals. Just every single thing is so time consuming to get to build just these, to make these moments happen
yeah, yeah,
and make them work successfully. So,
yep.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I actually was really, I'm more impressed. I was really enjoyed the game after last session, um, but I am even more impressed now than I was before. Um, I think that the writing is, while not always perfect, like they it has some real strengths above and beyond what I would normally expect for a game like this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Particularly the sensory, just like we talked about, the fragrances and the smell and the tastes and just all of the sensory stuff, which really shined in that sex scene, because it's like that's what's so interesting about, I don't know, monster fucking, is that it's like it's so like there I don't know, it's like there are pleasures that are so much more amplified by the idea of like a fictional creature, like, and it really delivered on that. What was different about being physical with somebody who is so vastly different than our biology. um yeah, like I said.
Yeah, and I think the sex scene really played to the writer's strengths. I think Miru is really good at writing. Like, in some parts, in some exchanges, things feel overwritten, like some of
Yep.
the conversations and dialogue where I would have rather have just seen the dialogue play out rather than lots of breaks to, oh, I contemplated this and I thought that was surprising. And, like a little bit of that tagging and reaction, of course, is fine, but it was just, it slowed down the momentum of just letting the characters kind of be with each other and let moments unfold in certain places.
Mm-hmm.
But where the writers like strengths really were with like giving that kind of luscious detail of how things feel and how things smell. And so for like the sex scene, it was just really, you want detail, you want sensuality, you can get purple with your prose, you can be self-indulgent
Right.
with a sex scene, you should be, like and so that made it really nice. And I liked how the relationship developed out in this playthrough today too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already liked Nyargh, but like you learning more about him and the relationship, it's very sweet.
Yeah. I always think of that, even though I honestly have read almost no fan fiction, but I think of that particular problem as being a very fan fiction-y sort of, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this person has written fan fiction, um,
Mm-hmm.
and possibly in particular Slash, where it's like that
Yeah.
there is, like, I think of that kind of stuff as being a little fan fiction, and also in that particular thing where things are like overwritten and take a long time to develop, and you're just like, I this conversation is a small conversation with your boss talking about like this thing. It doesn't need to be this big, like, and like,
Right.
um I think that I've seen much worse, in games that I've still really enjoyed, and this game doesn't is really, like it, even though it has that flaw, it still is not nearly as bad as other games. So I'm not worried about it, but it is a way that I kind of like think about writing in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, and that's just also like a personal preference. Like I generally don't like fan fiction type writing, which of course fan fiction is a massive genre. There's
Right.
lots of fan fiction that I do like, but like there's a certain kind of tone and way of writing that just feels overwritten to me. And so that's also just a matter of like personal taste,
Yeah.
right? Like so. But again, with was it Zenona just said, this game had a lot of heart. The relationships
Yes.
were cute.
Yes.
The world was intriguing. Sometimes I wish it had explored that a little bit more and added a little bit more depth to the main character beyond just being like such a good little worker bee who never wants to fall behind. But like
Yep.
it was very sweet. It was very nice.
Yeah.
I can't be too mad at it because I had a good time.
And it's kind of cute the way that the how sweet and nice it is contrasts with like, I mean, they're all monsters and they do these horrible punishment baths, and I think that's sort of intentional. Of like, they, I wish they had gone further with the questioning of the, because the things that kind of like make their police society bad is like, I mean, it's not that far off from our world, and so I wish they had like played with those comparisons a little bit more. And I do think that there is more to that, almost certainly more to that in the storyline with Yelton, is that his name?
What's his name?
Panopticon
I can't
Bug
remember.
Man.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but yeah, I was just thinking that like probably we get more into that world and navigating some of the hard decisions of wielding that kind of power in his plot line. You're probably right.
Yeah, and I hope that there are things that, because most of what I've seen, what I saw from it was like not actively bad, but in that it, like that propaganda thing where it's like, you know, where it's just like whatever cop show, and it's like, well, yeah, they acknowledge that there are bad cops, but like, you know, and it's not ideal, but also it presents itself as, well, there's not any other way, so I guess it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, kind of like Brooklyn 99. Like, oh wow, these cops are like aware, but it's like, but they're still cops. They're still New York
Yeah.
cops. Like, what the? It's not fixing the problem actually.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure the creators were aware of the critiques of society that could have been made from some of the aspects of the world. Yeah, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, it just. I think that the creators could have questioned real society and punishment and not carcinization. That's crabs.
Carceral.
Carceral
Ju-
justice. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
But, you know, again, we had that conversation last week. If you're curious, more of that conversation last week, if you're curious about more of our thoughts on that. And again, I don't think we've seen everything that this has to say about that stuff. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder like what would the depth have even been with like Brattan's storyline because he's so
mm-hmm.
like straightforward and chirpy. I mean, does every character have hidden depths? Does he actually have like little insecurities and things like that? I
Yeah,
mean, probably. But
I'm I'm very curious which was the Vor. Oh, do we want to go back and see what happens? Because we could do that really quickly, I think.
oh, we're asking about if you're gonna eat me, basically.
When is? Oh, okay. So I guess I didn't save it when we after we finished, but
Uh,
um, so I think we can just do. I'm gonna do it the same way. Other than that,
ask how he feels. Yeah. Skip. Up by later. Okay. Ask if he's planning on eating you.
try to make a joke.
Hmm.
Nyarg,
Yeah.
or yeah,
Oh
go.
yeah. Yeah. You take it. You take it.
Okay, Nyarg, you didn't let me in so you could have me for breakfast, did you?
Hmm.
Seems his mind was elsewhere. There was a pause before he realizes what I said.
Oh, of course not.
Gives me a dry laugh through one of his mouths, the other arranged in faint smirks.
Worry not, Bill. You know I won't be eating anyone anytime soon.
Right. I was just joking, though.
I know.
Give an awkward laugh, if only to fill the stilted silence that colors the air. So that definitely feels like the wrong choice, sort of.
Yeah.
But
But what made you think so?
Well, it's not a big deal, but I just noticed you weren't eating. I wasn't sure if maybe you were bothered by something. Uh,
And then this is the same.
yeah, this feels like the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, I kind of got the idea that not all of the things changed the plot entirely. Oh, but we could see.
Or what if we say no?
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm sorry, Nyarg.
Oh, I'm sorry, Doug. It hurts me to say.
But if Nyarg was honest with me, I want to be equally honest with him. You're a really dear friend to me, and I still care about you a lot. Today was a really special day to me, and I'll always be really grateful that you chose to trust me with your secret. But I don't think I would be comfortable as your partner. I'm very sorry.
Bill,
Can we fuck anyway?
there's no need to apologize.
Nyarg reaches towards me and it's incredibly gentle when he wraps a tentacle around my shoulders. Oh, we can't see the game. I'm so sorry. You guys haven't been able to see this whole time. Sorry. Um,
I understand. You don't need to give me excuses. It's perfectly fine if you don't want to.
I nod, swallowing past the lump in my throat, and Nyarg withdraws his tentacle.
Then, can we at least remain friends?
Of course. I blurt out the answer almost before the questions left Nyarg's lips. Of course, I want to. You're still my friend. So this doesn't seem too bad. I don't know if we have time to do the whole rest of this route. It's probably not that much longer, but
Yeah, I bet it's pretty.
it might be a little bit longer. And I do. Do we want to talk about? We technically only have 15 minutes. I could probably go a little bit longer than that, but maybe not much more. I don't know if we want to save our discussion about Agnes.
Oh yeah, the piss course would take too much time for sure. There's so much in a good way. There's so much to
Yeah.
get into there.
I
feel like it would take 15 minutes to even explain the situation.
Yeah. Let me see. So, do you wanna like give that very brief explanation you gave me, and then I can put it in the chat, and so if people want to read, I'll want to read it before next time when we talk about it.
Yeah, a reading list for next stream. Okay, so there's this professor at University of Chicago, this philosophy professor, Agnes Callard, or Callard, I don't know how it's pronounced, who this New Yorker profile came out about her. She's you may also know her from being Twitter's main character back in October for saying that every year she throws out all of her kids' Halloween candy. And
oh my god, that was her? Oh my god, I didn't know that.
her.
Oh my god.
And that this year she just forgot, and so her kids were like overjoyed and like going like, "Mommy, thank you, thank you." And people were like, "We hate you for this." But she
That's ridiculous.
Yes. But she's autistic, and she's really autistic about it. In that she's like a very like analytic philosopher about everything in her life. And I guess as this profile covers, she was married to a fellow philosopher who also teaches at the University of Chicago. And one day she had made some cookies for her kids for like Christmas, and she had a few left over, so she brought them to give them to one of her graduate students. And as she was handing the cookie to one of her graduate students and he took a bite, they both realized that they were in love with each other and said it to each other. And pretty much immediately in that moment, Agnes like flew across the country because her husband was out of town to like meet up with her husband and tell him, "I need a divorce. I'm gonna get with this student of mine." And the husband was like, "Okay."
He takes it really well, and then kind of the whole article is very much about like the three of them actually end up living together with kids, and that actually
she has another kid with a former student.
Right. How old was he? Did they say? Because I think
he was 27 and she was 35, so not that big of a difference. And people present it as like, oh, if this were a man and a woman in the opposite direction, this would be so predatory and whatever. But like then she like got off of his like dissertation committee, like they filed the relationship formally through all the formal professional channels right after. She did end up she ended up hooking him up with a job as a professor. He's also a philosophy professor now at University of Chicago, so that's not great. But
this is all in your neck of the woods too. You could go say hello to any of these people. And the very exciting thing is, in the article there is this aside that's like she does podcasts with pretty much anyone who asks, and including she does a regular podcast with somebody who she is very politically not aligned with. It said she was like a libertarian or something, or he was like a libertarian. So I'm very I kind of want to have her on the show, but I don't know.
She
That
would
would
be on
be
the stream. Yeah.
it would be, it sounds like she would say yes, but it's yeah. It
So yeah, I think a lot of her thinking and stuff would like be because her politics are kind of all over the place too, from what I gather. So the chat would definitely be bullying her, and I would. That's fine. That's fine. Uh,
Oh, but anyway.
but it's
Um
a really interesting discourse. So because a
yes.
lot of people are talking about the article as if she's this horrible person, and I think it's more complicated than that. She's
Yep.
just a cringe person who's having a happy poly life, and good for her. But we'll talk about it
We'll talk about it.
maybe
Yeah.
next week. Yeah.
So I have put the actual link to the article in the chat, and then I have also put a 12-foot. What do they call? What is this website called again? One two ft.io 12foot
It
.io, which removes paywalls of some websites, and it does appear that it does work for this website. So
and you can also open it in an incognito or private mode tab to get your one free New Yorker read a month
okay,
if that doesn't work. So.
yeah, sometimes that works.
Oh yes, and thank you for the about the background, Zenona. This is my design.
Yeah. So if it's if you wanna read that, we'll likely talk. What? Oh, we had a plan for next week that we what?
uh, the topic we talked about was the like finding a therapist.
Yes.
When do you know it's time to find a therapist? How do you grill a therapist? Find out if they're any good. That kind of stuff.
So yeah, I don't know. Uh was that still what you were thinking for next week?
I mean, I don't have anything else in mind,
So
but
yeah, I'd be
yeah,
so
yeah. I know, yeah,
I'd be down. So we watch our social media, plans might change. We might want a little bit more lead up time, but that we had talked about doing. We will do if we don't do it next week, we will absolutely do it another week.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because we talked about how to choose a therapist, how to grill them, and then also playing this board game, Doctor.
Oh yeah, fucking Dr. Laura game.
I don't remember what I think it has a stupid ass name. Dr. Laura is this weird conservative talk show host person. She's like she is a conservative Jewish talk show host, so it's a little bit different
Hmm.
flavor than the evangelical stuff that is more normal in this country at least. But she's still awful, and it's basically the board game is all about trying to get as good as Dr. Laura, give advice that is as good as Dr. Laura, and it's really stupid and a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've played it before at Maddie and her spouse's house, and the game is basically like you just get somebody's scenario for like an advice column, like somebody going through some shit in their life, and you think how you're going to answer it. And Dr. Laura's answer is always like, "You're a pathetic piece of shit."
It's super weird because usually
Yeah.
it's the worst. Usually it's the most like oh, this is what a shitty conservative would say, but it's not always. Like she's Jewish and she's a woman, so I feel like there are times when she's like, oh, I actually am a little bit empathetic to this situation and am not and she kind of has that girl boss like you should fucking drop your husband if he watches porn or whatever. So it's
Right.
this, you can't just pick the shittiest thing. It's not going to be right, but sometimes it will be
Yeah.
right. Like it's
Yeah, there were a few times when we were all playing it where somebody chose like, what's the most like disparaging thing I can say that's like kind of out of left field, and that's what she would say
yep.
sometimes. But then other times she surprises you. It's very
So
good.
yeah, we might do a little bit, not actually play the game, but just a little bit of reading those cards off and stuff. So um,
Yeah. Oh, Weeble Wobble says I'm an autistic therapist and want to learn more about how to be a therapist for fellow autistics.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you have any questions about that
Oh.
stuff, definitely hit up either our email, Dr. Devin Price Streaming at
Mhm.
gmail.com, or either of our ask boxes, especially Devin's ask box, and we'll probably also do a mailbag kind of segment,
Yeah.
whether it's next week or a little bit later down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's just something I get questions about all the time because people want to find a therapist who doesn't suck, and guess what? They suck by design. So,
Yeah, they all suck.
it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard, but having realistic expectations and being armed with the mentality of no, they work for me. I'm not going to take any of this shit. If they don't have their shit together, I'm going to walk. Like that makes a big difference. So,
Yep. I have tried 3 different couples therapists for myself and my spouse and have had to drop all of them, almost all of them, because of the first or second session, because
wow.
they were weird. And those were
Damn.
even super like woke ones. Like it wasn't that they, were weird about poly or weird about disability or being us, being trans. It was like just that they were weird, like, and like didn't, like engage with us in a way that was helpful for me as a traumatized person. And it's like
Mm,
those are all people that had good recommendations from someone or the other. So it's
yeah.
really hard, and you unfortunately have to be willing to fucking shop and drop a lot of people. So
Yeah. And to not get into your head that like because they have any particular identity or because they have the authority of being a therapist that they know what the fuck they're talking about or what's
mm-hmm.
good for your life. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'd definitely be excited to hear a little bit more about your kind of experiences with that shit cuz
Yeah, I'm gonna
yep.
try and ask my therapist about it if I see them before then, because I don't remember very well, because it was such bullshit every time.
Mm. Oh, you told your personal therapist about the bullshit with the other
Yeah, because I
couples
was
counselor.
seeing the same therapist for all 3 of those people. I've been seeing my personal therapist for quite a while, um, and so yeah, and they were great, and they were every time they were like, yeah, that sucks. They
Yeah,
literally,
that's good.
yeah, they're my therapist is fucking great, which really is so hugely important. Um, but yeah, every time they're like, yeah, that sucks. You should drop them, and they
That's great.
kind of refuse to recommend people to me in general, because they have such high standards. Like they refuse to recommend a psychiatrist because they're like, yeah, they all fucking suck. Like there aren't
That's
good
the
ones.
thing. That's the problem that I get. I constantly get questions about, how do I get an autism assessment? And I've kind of put a moratorium on that, which I've kind of talked about on my blog. But like when people want to ask for like, are there any therapists even in the Chicago area who you can vouch for understanding neurodiversity issues? And it's like, well, no. Like I've heard good things about this one guy, but I don't know, like I don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable saying any of them are good because I just don't have enough information and just the nature of the therapy building machine is that it makes bad therapists who are mean to you and think you're fucked up a
Yeah.
lot of the times.
So
But anyway, this is the spoiler. This is the TLDR for
yeah.
the stream in general.
But also, please, please, please ask us questions, because you guys have such insightful questions, and I feel like I love to hear from people ahead of time if we can when we talk about stuff like this.
Yeah, and also things that have worked for you, like questions that
Yeah.
you've asked a therapist to help vet them, or times when you knew it was time to hit the fucking bricks.
Yep.
Like that actually might be something we should make a soundboard for is a
I
hit the
I'm
bricks.
gonna make. I'm pretty sure it's already written down in my to-do list, but I'm gonna make sure it is, because and it needs to, because I have thought about that before. The problem is I'm like, yes, I need to do that, and if I don't write it down immediately, it's gone forever.
Oh yeah, same. So few therapists have knowledge about the way political, social, systemic
Yep.
issues impact their work.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're not trained in it. They are absolutely not trained in it. And sometimes if you bring it up in graduate classes, people act like you're a commie crank, which I am, but come
Yeah.
on.
I can't imagine being a person of color and trying to get therapy from a white person. That sounds
That
like that sounds like a
oh
fucking
yeah.
nightmare.
The horror stories I've heard, and also just things like, for example, like somebody that I know who's an immigrant from Egypt, and their family moved here from Egypt too when they were young. Like the family norms and the expectations of what you owe your family are just really different. And like
Yeah.
they would go to a therapist, and the therapist would be like, "Your mom's codependent, your mom's clingy, your mom's controlling," and it's like, and like she told me, like I need a therapist who can go, "Here are the things that are normal for your culture." and
Yep.
here are the things your mom's doing that are fucked up. Not
Yep.
to say that my mom's whole culture is fucked up.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah. And even, yeah, because even if that is like a place, you know, even if you want to start questioning some of the norms of your culture, it can't be from a place of like patronizing and like kind of, you know, Western, like, you know, and not only Western, just like, you know, my culture is superior. And so those norms are wrong. Like, yeah.
Right. Or even just misunderstanding it as like that mom being codependent, which might
Yeah.
also be true, but like it's like, no, actually that thing here is a normal thing to expect in my culture. This other thing that she's doing, I don't like, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, um, meaningful help with trauma healing in a therapist's office. Um, yeah, the thing that is so good about my therapist is she literally recognized I had trauma that I didn't know about. And I am so sorry that it is so hard to find someone who is really trauma informed. But there are people out there. And it's fucking horrible how few of them there are and how hard it is to find. Um, but yeah. Um, there are people out there. It is just, you know, so awful, awful to, you know, have to go through a bunch of them to fucking find them, especially if you don't have,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. And there's just a way of talking about like going to therapy as if it's the solution to everyone's problem. And
Yeah,
it's a really helpful resource when you can find the right person, but that itself takes so much executive functioning and wherewithal to go through it multiple times trying to find the right person. And so sometimes you find that insight that you needed to find. This was one of the asks that somebody sent me, like, can I just read self-help books instead of going to therapy? Like, well, it's not the same thing, but it's a place to start, free,
yep.
like support groups that are free. It's a place to start. Like you can find some of those moments of insight and
And
recognition in other people.
and I think also that can be helpful because you if you can kind of learn some of the terminology of the things that you need, you can learn, you know, trauma informed is a really important way to start looking for somebody like that. And that is not a thing I knew about before I found someone. So, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, send on all those questions. And I know we're pretty much at the limit of time, but I think we got to look at some fucking bees.
Yes, let's look at some little bees. It's a little stream cap.
Tiny freak of the week for some reason.
The tiniest freak.
The tiniest freak. Also, let us know if we do more of that game, who you want to us to see first.
Yes. Small freaks. So yeah, KPPK, hit us with the B facts. Um,
Or the beef acts also.
the B facts.
Either one. Cooper. Sorry. If anyone knows, this is a long shot, but if anyone in this chat or watching this VOD later knows anything about VDO.ninja, I'm planning on switching to that, which is going to make not all of this, not what I'm doing right now. That's just my fault. But a lot of this a lot more powerful. So if anyone knows, if you know or knows anyone about um, how to do that, please get in touch with me.
Oh my bad. Zenona is the bee expert. My apologies. Fun bee fact: when the weather starts getting colder, the female bees start kicking the extra drones out because they just use up the food. Wow.
Mood. Okay, so bees are very wide. There's a lot of kinds of bees. Thank you, Cooper. Very helpful. Um, and there's a lot of cool things about bees. So I don't really know where to start with this one. I think we
I
just,
think B is sleeping, right?
yeah, I think that absolutely is. I think just seeing some cute
Yeah.
bees content is probably where we want to start. Let's.
Rockabye by BB.
We're gonna keep the audio off for this one. I
Yeah.
never know about this stuff.
Yeah, we've been lucky we haven't been flagged for anything in a while, except for on TikTok,
Oh
got a violation of terms of service for calling beavers autistic.
yeah, of
So
course, of course.
haters.
These are cute bees. I get to them sleeping like little cuties. He's not a bee.
That's a man.
A man can become a bee, but
But he must try very hard.
oh my god, the quality on this is awful.
Yeah. Yeah, what the hell is that?
I mean, this video is only 720, but it looks like this photo is also like really low res. All right. Well,
Yeah.
you're a bad video. Moving on. Oh my god, that's insanely cute.
Oh, wow. Look at his little feet twitching or mandible. I don't even know what I'm looking at.
I think it's maybe a foot because I think his mandible is over here, maybe.
My God.
You just poking him?
Oh
Rude.
my
Why are
God.
you doing that?
Oh
He's
my God.
sleeping.
Leave him alone. He's like, I like that he's resisting. Like he's not intimidated.
Stop it.
God. So Zanona, does your family like sell honey or like anything like that?
Queen bee gets hurt or is otherwise unable to do her job, the bees will start making new queen eggs and just murder the existing queen. Based. I think
Yes.
humans could take some lessons from that.
I think collectively we all did that to the monarchy in England. It just took a lot of Tumblr posts to build up enough raw hatred.
Yeah, it's for our British people also do this.
Yes.
Oh my fucking
Wow.
god.
Look at the level of detail. The wings.
And it's so massive. It looks so massive anyway in that flower. Zenona, do y'all do any pollinating? I know that some one bee fact I know is that a lot of nuts start with an A. Not acorns. Almond specifically. I could be wrong about that part. Need more fertilization than is provided by just the bees in the area. And so there's this huge thing where bee farmers or yeah beekeepers will drive their bees up to California and do a bunch of fertilization as like, and that's actually a big part of how a lot of beekeepers make money in addition to honey. Yeah, KPPK says I
It's
think that's
amazing.
true for a lot of agriculture. Yeah, blueberries, etc.
Bee rental. God,
Poke at the
this.
bees.
Oh my God. Wow. They do they mind?
Doesn't seem they don't
Joe.
seem to.
No.
I
Oh
think
my God. They're so big and slow.
I know.
I guess they're just like really, just drunk on the sweetness.
Bee trucks. I read an article about heists that were happening. Bee heists.
Wow. Oh my God. I would watch that movie. Fuck Cocaine Bear. I mean, Cocaine Bear
Yeah.
was also fun, but
Did you watch that?
yeah. It was it was dumb, it was good. It was fine. I I, I watched an fmovies.to like hand cam, shaky cam
Oh my god.
version of it, so it's pretty shitty, but it was fine.
You are stronger than me. I need my shit to be 4K and a billion frames per second.
And that's why you're the producer.
Yeah. Uh,
We were actually going to start a deal where we would send out hives to pollinate farms in Florida or California, but the guy who was going to provide the driving and sort didn't hold up on his end. Oh my gosh. I would be so scared to just give my bees to some guy to have them
yeah.
drive off.
I don't see any other good sleeping bee. Wait, stress busting benefits of sleeping with bees?
Hmm.
Well, that
Okay.
seems interesting, but not something we're going to be able to like actively watch. So go watch that from BBC Real because that sounds ridiculous.
Hmm.
All right, let's see if we can find some sleeping bees stills to lead us out of this. Oh my fucking god!
Oh my God. Big boys. What on earth?
Just really,
Wow.
really important stuff. Oh my god.
God, and they're so dusty.
Mm-hmm.
They look like the Honduran tent building bat.
Yeah. Gonna make it a little bit bigger for the chat at least. Oh my god, look at them all. Look at them all in there. Ugh, just really important
Wow.
stuff.
They're all arranged in a circle. Isn't there a way the bees try to kill things by like swarming on them and just like generating so much heat that it kills them?
Oh yeah, that is a thing. But I that might is that just I think they usually do that to other bees or maybe just other insects. I
Yeah,
don't
like if something attacks the hive, maybe.
yeah.
We got 6 or 7 5-gallon buckets of honey last fall. It was our best season yet. We just sell it to people locally for the most part. Oh my God. Are you like making candy or baking or anything with some of that honey? I would be a menace.
Oh, this is all making me so hungry too.
I just had a bunch of peanut butter and honey on a tortilla last night.
On a
Just really
tortilla.
yeah. Well, I was high and it was midnight, so
I don't hate that. I mean, it feels like it'd be better on the right bread, but was it bad?
Oh yeah. No, I mean it was amazing. The tortilla is just a vehicle for,
Schlorp.
conveying the peanut butter and the honey. Yeah, a little carb. Um, but Gen Ham, I make that same snack when sober. Oh yeah, yeah. That used to be prime struggle meal, but it's also so good. Peanut butter and honey is just so good together.
All right.
Banana and roll it up. Hell yeah.
All right. Well, we should let you all go. Um, let's find a someone to raid. Oh yeah,
Oh
who
yes.
are you? You had an
Let's
idea
see if
for a
they're still
raid.
going.
Oops.
Let's see, Diva Panda, El Sanguito. Yeah, they're still watching the LA City Council meeting. So y'all will get to learn a little bit about Los Angeles politics. Um, yeah, why not? Fuck it. Honey on saltines. Okay, I'll try that.
Are you subscribed to them? What's their
Yeah,
name?
I can see that. El Sanguito. It'll let me do it
Okay.
actually. So okay, I'm gonna just see if it. But yeah, 87 seconds to raid. My uncle used to keep bees and he ate the raw honeycomb. Never known anyone else to do that. Oh, there's this girl, when I was following the slime channels more actively, there was this slimer on Instagram where she would get the honeycomb and she would have the long nails and she would like crunch it and eat it. So good.
That's another thing we've talked about. We don't have any specific plans, but we've talked about a slime stream.
Yeah, we should do a fucking slime stream.
I really want to do a stream. You know those TikTok videos that are like, here's some really complicated topic that we're going to talk to you, and also subway surfers, so you don't get distracted. I want us to find our most cerebral, difficult to parse topic, scientifically dense topic, and then also talk about it where we're also squishing slime.
Yo, you have no idea how much that's like the lifestyle for me. I would just need to like find a mount because some of the Slimers have great setups where it's like a
Oh
top
yeah,
down view. just like the craft, some of the craft streamers, like mixing glitter into like clear slime, and maybe like I might even get nails for it because it sounds so good when you hit it with the nails. And then we're just fucking talking about, I don't know, materialism or whatever the shit.
All right. Well, streams have raids happening. Bye.
Okay, bye
Bye.
everybody. See you next week, Wednesday.
Sorry.
Oh my god.